Hello, and welcome to Movie of the Year, the only podcast that has the science and the screaming to specifically pick the best drama series of television from specifically the year 2024. My name is Ryan, and I am so honored to be your host. There was a national vote. I was chosen. It was 71 million for me and 70 million for Greg, and I'm glad that I won. And the people who voted for me, I'm not embarrassed by. I think that they're all fucking Americans, and I'm glad that they love me. Here to do this with me tonight is Greg.
That's nice that you brought me in, even though all those people voted for me.
I think we should go back to the old school way of if you lose president, you're vice president.
I do like that.
And just watch them in the office
That was
together.
so classy. I think back in the day, the idea was more like to troll each other a little bit more. And so they're like, yeah, this guy's going to kick your ass. And then you have to stand there and like greet people when they come to the White House.
And good Lord, the amount of whoopee cushions and kick me signs. Greg, was this a year that you enjoyed drama, or would you say that you wanted to save the drama for your mama and push?
I would say it was a year of highs and lows. That some of the shows were among the best dramas that we've had. And then some of these shows are they're meant to be put on while you were looking at your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that some of these things don't even need to exist at all. But that's not to say, I think that this was a good year for dramas. I think the peaks were peak TV. I think we were almost returned to Prestige Land with TV.
Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul hosting Is It Meth? And they just put a knife through things to see. I mean, that's good drama, I think.
A lot of that stuff was meth, Ryan.
And they cut it up.
Yeah.
But you have to really smoke it to know. Is that what you do with meth? I wouldn't even know. I've never even been in the same room as meth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think you smoked it, though. And then rip your shirt off, I want to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that order, Caitlin.
Yes.
Meth, top 5 drug for you or below?
I
blow.
really love.
Sorry, blow. Or is blow top?
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I like them hard and I like them dark and ketamine and anything that could possibly kill me.
I think that meth smokes Caitlin.
Yeah.
When it wants to get a little pep in its step.
I do want the listeners to know that Caitlin was furiously Googling hard drugs through that whole monologue.
She's like my favorites, like meth and its twin sister, ketamine. The drugs that both do the same thing.
I knew that.
I wanted to take a third Tylenol before it was 4 hours, and I didn't. So there.
Tylenol
I'm
PM.
all hopped up on NyQuil right now, guys. I'm going to get real loopy. It's going to be fun.
That actually would make for a good podcast. Caitlin on NyQuil.
Just a normal person.
Normal.
Speaking of NyQuil, Caitlin, do you watch these dramas at night while taking notes with a quill while watching them?
Absolutely. My quill is the best quill in the world, too. I plucked it from a phoenix myself. It sometimes turns into ash, but then I can use that ash as my ink, which is really cool, and it's sustainable. So it's all about my quill.
This is a little tip for the panelists I have and all the listeners at home. That's how you yes and.
Yeah.
Caitlin, you ask her a terrible question, and it's like, fuel for her, and she'll just go.
Yes, and I'm sitting on a dinosaur. Back to you, Ryan. I believe it's a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
His name is Carl, and he loves you too.
Cassie, an actual question for you.
Okay.
Sometimes people think that TV dramas are mean.
Yeah.
So do you take
Bullies.
drama mean while watching them?
Yeah.
Do you know what drug that is?
It's ketamine, I believe.
That's where you mix drama and ketamine.
And then you shoot it up and you have a good
Put
time.
the lime in the coconut.
You shoot it into your veins.
You shake it, not stir it, and then you have a good time. Yeah, Dramamine is the only way I watch these. It puts you in the perfect headspace.
And that's for seasickness, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
AKA my number one homie.
Cassie's watching all of these sitting in a rowboat. That's what you have to understand.
It's the pirate life for me, baby.
Which is, of course, a Canadian robot. Mike, can you help us out? Explain the show and what we're doing. Because typically, we usually do brackets that are sort of critic consensus, but no longer. What is this show going to be?
Fuck the critics. We're the consensus. No more electoral college. Popular vote forever. Only good things come from that. Each one of us showed up with our top shows. Our powers combined, we formed the Voltron that is the Pop Filter TV drama bracket of 2024. 16 shows enter, 1 shows leave. We will personally go and kill everybody involved in the shows that lose. From PA to line supervisor to crafty.
Whoa.
And above
Not
the
crafty.
line, too. We're not just below the line killers. But you know what? I know I said 16 shows enter, Ryan, but I do believe way more than that because we are precious with our little picks, aren't we here, folks?
Yeah, we're like a dainty guitar player. We keep each one of those for ourselves. We have a lot of shows here. We're going to knock out some of them very quickly. My big question for you, Mike. You know what? Let's go to Caitlin because she's more fun to talk to. Caitlin,
I wanted to talk about drugs.
we usually do. No, talking to you about it is not funny.
I was gonna say it's a problem.
Decidedly
Would you guys know?
humorous experience.
Caitlin, with the critical consensus brackets of previous years, we usually think that we came up with a pretty good number one at the end of the bracket. This is us now. This is us is not on the bracket. That's a drama from the past. But we're making this bracket. What are the chances that we all come out with a number one we all love?
Oh wow. I think that is. I'm gonna go to my dinosaur Carl really quick and just see what he says. Carl. Yeah. Carl says, yeah. Oh, Carl, thank you. Carl, Ryan just asked if we're all gonna like agree.
It's never happened before. Why would it happen now?
Carl, this is why I
knows
go to you.
us.
This is where I go to you. You're my favorite, Carl. I'm gonna go.
I
give you
didn't
some
realize
Starleafs.
Carl was a listener.
Carl's not only a listener. He's a Stan. He's a Greg head.
I get it.
Carl makes the fossil fuels that fuel our engines.
I don't like that
Carl.
joke.
All right, before Caitlin becomes too much of an edgelord to dinosaurs that are listening, we're going to take the quickest of breaks. And when we come back, the top 42 dramas of the year, and we are going to narrow that shit down.
Greg looks scared.
Yeah.
Before we begin, let me point out once again that if this bracket seems either wonky or willy to you, it's because we made this bracket, and I believe that... What's the fucking dinosaur's name again?
Carl.
Carl got a vote as well.
It's Carl.
So that's why it's wonky. Mike, we're going to start with this is the play-in round. We have 7 seeds that are locked in, ready to go. Who is going to face those 7? The first one, Mike, can you tell us what Bad Monkey is?
Bad Monkey is a Apple TV Plus. I think I said all those right words in the right order. It is Vince Vaughn is a detective in the Florida Keys. So you know this is up my alley. Love a fast talker. Love detective shit the older I get. And it's just he gets sucked further and further into a murder mystery. He doesn't have to. He can clearly say no to the call to adventure. And yet, because he can't scratch that itch, he just has to and gets sucked in and it ruins his
True
life.
Moody
It's
listeners
delightful.
know that we are coming hot off our Swingers review. So this filled up the Vaughn hole that we have. I would recommend the show to... I would do a soft recommend to everybody. It was a hard recommend to you, Mike. Was that...
That was
Yeah.
that was my question: is if it could translate to everybody, or if it's specifically they knew Mike was out there and that he would love this.
It's fun. It's interesting. It's bright noir, which is just like the sun's out when they're solving crimes and stuff. I would say, and we're probably going to say this a lot tonight, 2-3 episodes too long.
Yeah, still that's a problem, right? Like, I
What
guess
isn't?
maybe it's good for all the actors and the crew and everything that people are still getting paid. But when it's your job to say, like, watch a bunch of these shows near the end of a year, when there are 2 or 3 episodes too long, on average, that starts to grate.
Which, hey, TV makers, just realize everybody's going to cram this in the last month. And by the last month, we mean 3 months in to the next
What do you guys
year.
think about this whole Apple thing, though? Of like, let's lock Vince Vaughn down, Gary Oldman down, and we'll just make a book into a season every year. And like, there's some crossover or like, interconnectuality, but like, really, it's just here's a new story.
Yes, I fucking love that shit. I'm tired of reading, so now I get to read with Vince Vaughn.
I
being
just think
up
it's
there.
weird how they continue to most of them fly under the radar despite being like
Well,
high
that's Apple,
quality.
dude. Like,
yeah.
Apple just they don't care, but then they're pissed. Like, why are we making this shit? And that's a good question.
But I mean, you could name
Is it tax write-offs?
you could name like 25 really good shows, and for half of them, people would be like, "You're just making these up."
And then everybody still just says, "Oh, is that Ted Lasso thing?"
Yeah.
For Apple, like that's all that they have.
Yeah.
Caitlin, our number 16 seed is going up against our number 17 seed. Love is Blind.
Oh my gosh, Love is Blind. So if you haven't watched Love is Blind before, we're going to talk about season 7. But Love is Blind, the premise is people just decide they are done with dating and they want to get married. So they go into this blind experiment. There's like 24, maybe a lot more than that go into pods and meet people and choose blindly who they are going to marry. They get down on one knee and they get engaged, and then they meet the person who they fell in love with blindly. And then from there, the drama just ensues. Drama, guys.
This is trash behavior.
Yeah,
Yes.
dude. This is the same country that for years was like, gay people can't get married. You're going to ruin the institution.
Arranged
Ruin it.
marriages are disgusting.
Are the people hot, Caitlin? Like, does it turn out that they're hot a lot of times?
The people are
Arranged.
usually hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a range. They're
Okay.
usually hot. There's some that are like, ooh. And then the people, it's so funny when the people are like, oh, I'm not vain. Oh, I love them. I'll never like do it. And then they see them and like, you know what? I can't go through this.
Man.
Now. It's over.
Because no matter
And
what,
it's-
you're picturing somebody hot.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They
The best is when people are like, I look like there was a girl last season who was, I look like Megan Fox. And she no way.
I
looked like
actually
Megan
saw
Fox.
her.
Yeah, she got a lot of attention for that comment.
Yeah.
And everybody
Oh,
was
man.
She looked like Megan attacked by a fox. Am I right? I don't know what she looks like. I've never seen a second
A
of
fox
any of
would never.
I love when Mike goes on the apology tour immediately
I'm
after
so
the
sorry.
comment.
That felt misogynistic. I shouldn't have said that. I don't know. I got a lot of reflecting to do.
What is the batting average for these people? Cassie, did you watch this?
Oh yeah, this is a household viewing show for us. We gather together to watch
That's
this.
so beautiful.
It's and
trash
true.
reality TV is like the best for like the communal viewing experience.
Yeah, because we all have to share. This is the perfect
Slop
thing.
in the mud with us,
Come
everybody.
on down, we're dirty little pigs.
Yeah. I have to say though, a major part of these reality shows to me is that there have to be like a few smoke shows at least. Right?
There's always a hot one. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. There's
Because the audience can see everybody.
Oh, I
There's-
figure it was 95% hot and like one stinkeroo.
yeah, they sprinkle in a couple of uggos because there's every moment of this is set up for
the hot potato.
is set up for failure. So like you don't see the person and they do this big dramatic reveal, and the whole time obviously they're like, what if they fucking think I'm ugly? And then
Yeah.
you're looking at them and you're like, you are the ugly one. I
Yeah,
hate to tell
dude.
you this.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna go well for you. And then you see them like their face just crumble of the other people just be like, oh no.
Because if you are really hot, you're used to being with really hot people. So
Yeah.
even someone
Yeah.
who is just like
Average.
average looking, you're like, I can't do this. I'm sorry.
That's when you're waving and you're like, no, the person. I thought it was the person behind you is actually who I'm waving at.
The producer behind you, actually, if I could take them. Yeah, and then they move them in together. They make them share finances. Like,
wow.
it's insane. They
I don't even
meet
do that, and I'm married.
They meet the parents.
the friends. Like, they go through
friends.
all the shit.
There was like there's always really savage friends who are like, you shouldn't be doing this. I don't
That's
like,
not
condone
savage.
this.
That's not savage.
No,
Yeah,
that's
that's
totally
not savage.
healthy advice.
Okay, but I do believe one of the friends was calling their partner super ugly, and it was hilarious.
Oh, that's so sad.
It was really sad.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and there's some bummer moments, but again, it really bonds you as a trash person to watch these.
Yeah.
So
Do you know why I think trash TV is so important in households? Is we are all too technology addled to have a conversation about how's your life, how's your
Yes.
day. But we also don't want to actually sit and watch these shows. So you do sort of both of them at the
Yeah.
same time, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I am absolutely locked into Love is Blind. I cannot text and watch this. This gets me in. That's why it's up here on this hot drama list. I'm sure it should be number 1, but I think you might have said it was like a little bit lower, maybe 5, Ryan. I'm not sure how the bracket works. But
It's 17, barely holding on. This is coming from Caitlin, who said Andor was too serious and boring for her. Needs to lock into Love,
The person who dressed like Star Wars at her wedding.
yeah.
just the DVD of Star Wars. I have a question real quick before we go to a vote. And I don't watch any of this trash. I'm far too sophisticated. But these just always move to the drama bracket. Should Survivor be on drama, but some of these be on comedy? We have a lot more reality to come, guys.
But really, I'm pitching for the first time that next year we should. People are saying, "No, you're best of the year. It's too short. It's too short. Why do you guys wrap up the year
We
so
barely had
short?"
time to
We
process the year.
We should add a reality.
I would love to
I
have a
would
week
be
off.
in.
That sounds
That
amazing.
would
We
be-
should.
It'll be me, Cassie, and
Yeah.
Kim.
No,
We
I'll
can
be
have like
on
a
it, too.
mini reality show.
I watch a lot.
And Greg,
I watch different
Oh.
trash reality shows.
Let's go.
Because I'll tell you one that could be on the comedy. I think is I watch that show, The Circle.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's legit.
You're a circle
funny
jerk?
most of the time. I'm always circle jerking. And again, that is one where they they load up the show with hot people.
Yeah.
So like if nothing else is there for you, and like the people are basically like always just kind of dressed, or like they're basically in their PJs all the time. So
And I, of course, watch Antiquities Auction.
yeah, dude, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, you can
Classic.
join our
How
reality
much is
show.
this bureau worth? Oh, it's secretly worth $450. My God, I thought 300 max. This is the drama people tune in for.
Actually, I'm not going to watch anymore. Greg just summed it up.
I just spoiled it. I'm sorry. Had you not seen that one?
It is time to vote. It's Bad Monkey versus Love is Blind. And woof, starting off with I don't know what's going to happen. Mike, you're up first.
Bad monkey.
Caitlin?
You know the rest.
Love is blind.
Cassie?
It's gonna be a long night for you, Ryan.
Buckle in. Love is blind.
Woo!
Greg?
I'm gonna say Bad Monkey. We have to stop this trend of Apple TV shows not existing for people.
Yeah.
Bad Monkey moves on. Your number 8 seed. This is a high one. This is barely out of the bracket.
Okay.
Greg is Fallout.
Fallout. How exciting! The whole world knows about Fallout now, and the show really captures the spirit of the game, which is at once sort of like apocalyptic, but also very silly. And I have to tell you, like, living at a time where it kind of feels like everything is kind of coming to a conclusion, the thing that only recently they've been preparing us for is the fact that, like, it wouldn't be the epic cyberpunk, like, Blade Runner style apocalypse. It's instead this goofy, dumb idiocracy style apocalypse, and that's what Fallout really captures. That, like, the end will take us all, but also it will embarrass us with how stupid it is. And there still exists some strands of optimism, but they're just so swallowed up in how awful things are. But the show is appointment viewing. It features number 1 in our heart, Walter Goggins.
Is there
Walter
a chance
Goggins.
next
Walton.
next
Walton
year,
Goggins, excuse me.
Is there a chance next season that our TV bracket is Fallout versus Invincible versus The Righteous Gemstones,
Last of Us.
and he just owns, like, no matter what, he wins? If he's in a show, it's just fucking great.
He's great at picking. On top of everything else, he's obviously like a great part of everything that he's in.
Maybe a new
but
Justified
also
season.
he just picks winners, and he's kind of the center of the show Fallout, or he's one of the centers of it.
Yeah, he's the Western Red Skull.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
If this is, and the first 2 episodes, if that's a movie, it is the good, the bad, and the ugly of just these 3 stories coming together at the end. He would be the ugly. He is missing a nose, but the violence of the show did not surprise me. Right? Like,
Yeah.
this is just what happens. But the pretty good comedy, Ella Purcell just being this, like, I'm not going to be tainted by even the surface world.
Yeah.
I thought she crushed this show.
And that sort of like
Yeah.
naive vault dweller, that's one of the major components of the Fallout lore, and it's part of what they captured so effectively. Is like as she is beating people to death with like a big hammer.
It's like,
she's
I had to do this.
Yeah, she's like, you know what? You just got to keep a smile on your face, and everything's gonna work out fine.
And you got to be that kid. I never knew what that kid was from. That. Hi.
Oh yeah, the
I'm
Fallout
kid.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Wait,
yeah,
Fallout Boy.
Yeah.
That's not his real name, is it?
No, I can't remember exactly what it is though.
It's Millhouse.
It's Millhouse.
I do real quick want to give a little bit of time to, is it Maximus?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Brotherhood of Steel
The
guy.
third storyline, who I have never seen an actor be this sad. Like, he is so good at just being fucking, like, he broke my heart in every scene he was in
Yeah.
until he got his Iron Man costume.
He's so sad, but he's like he only has this brotherhood to fight for, and
Yeah.
he doesn't know why. So you just see him be like, this is the Brotherhood. I'm fighting for this, and I don't know why. Besides, I'm sad, and this is my family. And you're just like, my man.
And ultimately, he's rejected by it, but won't let himself
Yeah,
be
Right.
they
rejected
hate
by
him.
it.
It's just like, no, this is a part of it. It makes me stronger if I'm just rejected.
Yeah, I just force myself. I force you to accept me.
This show, high production value, I would say. Like, this is just like a good, like, visually pleasing show.
Yeah,
But like there is some Sam Raimi to it of like people will get thrown around and they'll land on the ground and it is cheap, expensive, but like purposefully. Like that Sam Raimi, this is a B movie that you're watching and it never lets you forget it.
Yeah, that's part of like the tone of the game, which they captured so effectively, which is that like sometimes you've got the high drama, sometimes you've got the wackety ass comedy, and sometimes you've got the action, and then sometimes all three sort of like come together to make these weird tonal scenes.
In this new world that we're in where Super Mario Brothers movie makes $500 million or maybe $1 billion, I think this is better than The Last of Us. I think this is more focused and jumping its bar better.
Yeah, and it also, like, the show The Last of Us, and I don't know how much this is a valid complaint, but like they kind of filmed the video game.
Yeah.
Whereas you have to make way more choices with Fallout because it's more expansive than like everyone's experience playing Fallout is going to be wildly different. So what the show had to do more than anything else is just capture all the different types of tones and types of stories that exist in the Fallout universe.
Does the game have this Sam Raimi kind of funny feel?
Yes. Oh yeah. Everything is super absurd. But everything is also super serious. So like you're out there in the wasteland and someone is dressed like a clown trying to kill you, and it's like you have to find some way to defeat them and to like stave off the ennui that like that sets in as well.
Also, props to Michael Emerson being the weirdo in 2 shows I watched this year. The bad guy from Lost is back, guys. Mike, it is going up against a Reacher.
Okay, Reacher.
He lit up. Viewers, he lit up.
Imagine if a wall was turned into a human being, and that person was in military for so long, and now they're just roaming the land that they called home but never lived. He just wants to listen to jazz and learn about the country. But gosh darn it, do small town crimes pull him in everywhere he goes, everywhere he looks. And then in this season, other people from the 1/10th, so his super investigative division, and they're all badasses, and people like around the world like, oh, you were in the 1/10th. They start dying. So the band that you've only heard whispers of in the first season, and if you've read all the books like I have, you hear a lot of whispers. The band gets back together. They're surviving members, and one guy's super into knives, and he was always a cut up, but now he has kids. It's crazy. It's so fucking good, man. It's so that old school of new adventure everywhere we go. Which like I feel like there's a glut of these shows in the last few years. Are like, remember what ruled about 70s shows? Let's do that again.
Poker
This
Face.
person's solving a new mystery. Yes,
Yeah.
like Poker Face. And Alan Richardson, who you might know as Hawk from Titans, the Fuck Batman show, or Aquaman from Smallville,
or New Girl. He was Tiny Dick. He had a microscopic
Tiny Dick.
Yeah.
Yes, Micro Dick from he rules as Reacher and really gets that. Yes, is he a Mary Sue? For fucking sure. Nobody can defeat him. And season 3 is about to start, and it's based on one of my favorite Reacher books. I know that's not what we're here to talk about, but he goes up against Paulie, the one person bigger than him in the world.
I heard that. I heard you have to fight a bigger boy. Man, Ryan, are you at all afraid this is going to be the Reacher round? Continue. You feel free to continue. You don't have to.
Hell of a nickname for Polly. I hope that you have to say all of that every time you say Polly. The one guy bigger than Reacher.
Polly, the one guy bigger than Reacher.
Let's go to the vote, and we'll start with Mike as somebody who's seen both of these. Fallout or Reacher?
Reacher all the way.
Idiot. Caitlin?
I'm a Reacher creature.
No, Ryan, put a stop to this.
Cassie?
I'm a Fallout girl.
Yes, okay.
Greg?
I am a Fallout boy.
All right, Fallout moves on. That was dangerously
Yeah.
close.
This ain't a
That was
show.
scary.
It's a goddamn arms race.
Caitlin just repeated the last thing she heard.
Is Caitlin the Trump of this episode?
She's very street smart.
But made a fun rhyme out of it.
All right, we're going to head back to you, Mike, with our 9th seed. Again, shocked that this is not just has a bye week. It's Say Nothing.
Oh, Say Nothing is it's slept on. There's too many streaming services. That's why this is slept on.
Well,
But
this is
a
FX on Hulu on Disney Plus on Apple.
Right. So how do you get there? And it's called Say Nothing, so nobody's talking about it.
Oh,
But you were
so
sleeping
good.
on it. And it's they know English, so you're like, I don't need subtitles. Cats, you need subtitles because they're all super Irish and they're all telling stories about what it was like to be super Irish in the 70s, aren't they?
A brick and brawl. Oh my god! I just got
so- It's jumping between modern day, maybe, of a reporter getting the stories about the IRA in the 70s, and it's telling a lot of stories, but mostly it's about the first women who were actually on the front lines, and it's because they were teenagers, and they pop off. They go to the old ass guy who's in charge of the IRA. They're like, we don't want to we don't want to just roll bandages. Because they're like, yeah, girls can cook us food. They're like, no. Here's what's wrong with your strategy, old man, and why you're losing. You're fighting a war that ended 50 years ago, and here's what you do. And he's like, girls, you can do whatever you want now.
Oh, so it's woke.
And it rules.
Is this ladies doing terrorism?
Yeah.
It's ladies doing terrorism, and it's all real people and real names because the end of every episode, there's like the guy who's sort of leading that part of the IRA, and they're like, Gary McIrish guy has always said he was never actually in the IRA, even though throughout every scene they're like, and he was the most bad of us, and here's how he broke somebody's arm because he was definitely in the IRA.
But like, apparently, most of the real people in the show, the people that really exist, they're like, yeah, I fucking did it. Yeah, I fucking did it. But
yeah, because they were fighting for freedom.
But this guy
Wherever
said,
there's trouble.
the IRA is there. IRA.
G.I. Joe Bryan.
It is a strange show to watch about revolutionaries / terrorists and put them as the main character. But the way that the timelines unfold is better than I've seen in a really long time, because I do feel like there's been this push to make it confusing on purpose. Like,
yeah,
I'm going to make sure that you can't be on your phone. And although I like that in theory, like sometimes there's some shows that like...
Sometimes I want to be on my fucking phone.
That's what Love is Blind is for.
It's super bright. There's a million colors.
This candy will not crush itself. But this is so seamless, and it's all about, like, there aren't stories about old revolutionaries / terrorists, you know? And whatever side you fall on, like, the pride / regret that you see in these people's faces, and it's not like of any one thing, but like I feel both about everything. I could not believe this show.
It does and subtly, right? Nobody's giving like a big stump speech about how they feel both things. Well, we did a lot of fucked up stuff, but gosh darn it was worth it. Like, it's a lot of quiet moments in their faces. It hits there's no person of honor in this situation. Like, everybody's in the muck and everybody's fucked up, even if originally their goal was good.
Right. And
a freedom, we can all agree, good goal, but the things then they'll go and do, and to each other too. It's not like they're treating each other well.
How quickly you have to go to innocents must die because they got in the way, you know? And then how after every victory or every loss, a round of Shamrock Shakes for everybody. It's all they drink.
You just find the Mickey D's that is still serving it. You go there, take over.
Well, over there, they're serving them every day.
Caitlin,
that's true.
Did you watch Evil?
No.
Cassie, did you watch Evil?
It missed my radar. I apologize.
Okay, I'll talk about it. Evil is this sort of procedural show. This is your 24 seed. I'll go fast because Say Nothing's just going to fucking trounce. But I cannot believe how slept on and unmemed this show is. It's basically X-Files updated, but not just like a new X-Files. Like, it is very 2024, 2025.
It's bussin'.
There's a guy in a suit who is an evil business guy who mistreats women, and like if you're a woman about to leave the office, he'll step on your feet so you can't get away. But that's because there's a demon that's trying to come out of him. So just sort of, we're tackling today's like topical things, Jeffrey Tambor like things, but making it all about the devil. And it's so many scenes are serious, but then you'll get a scene where like Michael Emerson from Lost and Fallout, he is talking to the board. You know how like if you're truly at the big time of evil, you'll have like 6 screens.
Yeah.
Not like
the
us
shadow.
But they're
podcasting
darked
right
out,
now.
right?
No, they're all there, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
5 business people, and then Satan is the 6th screen.
Oh, wow.
Nobody talks about it.
And what kind of Satan? Like Legend Tim Curry kind of Satan? Or...
Goat head, but with like
Nice.
eyes everywhere.
Does he ever
Clever.
start?
Oh, good.
Does he ever start talking when he's still muted? Dark Lord, I think you're still muted.
Hell damn it.
Lucifer.
He definitely is tubing the entire time and does not care.
As he should.
I'm the devil.
It's been... Forgive me, Your Honor. I'm the devil. It's been so long since I watched a show that had conversation scenes like where somebody will say, "That's impossible," unless, and that's just how everything is solved.
So I was going to watch this, but then because it's like season 4, and I went, I will not.
Yeah.
Be able to watch anything. This will suck up my life. I was a Buffy kid. I know what this will do to me. So
I think it absolutely would. It's Monster of the Week, but it's also, running through lines. It's Mike Coulter.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike Coulter.
Star of Luke Cage. There is the woman whose name I can't remember. She is giving a crazy performance to the point where, like, I'm not sure if she can speak English. Like, she might be handed all of the words right before each line of dialogue. And then, do you guys remember Asif Mandi, Daily Show correspondent?
Yeah.
He's the third. He's like the guy who knows stuff, but, is a dork. I highly recommend it, but it's going up against Say Nothing. So, Cassie, evil or Say Nothing?
You made a good fight for it, but then you were like, it's going to get swept, so I'm going to say nothing.
I really didn't know which way you were going right there.
Yeah.
Greg?
Say Nothing.
Caitlin?
I'm feeling evil.
I know you are, buddy. And Mike?
Say Nothing.
All right. Say Nothing.
I will not allow a sweep here.
All right, let's go to our next person, which, Greg, how much Interview with a Vampire have you seen recently?
I watched all of season 2 of Interview with the Vampire. If you are a vampire kid, season 2 of Interview with the Vampire is just full of nutty vampire things. Louis and Claudia go off to Europe to sort of like, they're like, we got to find out about vampires because they have killed Lestat. Like, we got to find out about vampires, so I guess we'll go to Transylvania. But they're all hopped up on World War II over in Transylvania, and so, like, the blood has gone bad, and the vampires are all weird.
Well, anger and fear makes your blood kind of shady.
I guess kind of curdle. And then they do the whole thing from, if you remember the movie Interview with the Vampire, the whole, like, Parisian vampire coven with Armand and everything. This was kind of like a potboiler, kind of like, I don't know, like Blood and Thunder, a little bit, like, silly in a lot of ways. But I found very engrossing, and I don't know, it deals with all the same sort of Anne Rice vampire problems that there are, which is like, if you are immortal now because you're a vampire, and the only people around are other vampires who are also immortal, what happens when after 70 years you're like, I can't fucking stand this person anymore, and you just have to, like, push through that somehow. Yeah. And it's
get
also
to, like, the
about,
next level of your relationship.
Yes.
And hope there is that next level.
And they're also, like, trying to remember what really did happen, and how do you, like, tell a story? How do you, like, form memories about things that happened so long ago? And how have we lied to ourselves so that we tell ourselves a story that isn't quite true anymore? I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a real page turner on the screen.
I wish, again, like Reacher, like, or Bad Monkey, don't read a book.
Yeah, dude.
Watch a show.
Yeah. Honestly, half the lines are in French anyway. And so you got the reading quotient.
I could not believe how much I love the first season. It's on paper or on screen, not my bag.
Celluloid.
It was so engrossing. And then the second season, they replaced Claudia, which I was scared about because that actress in the first season was the best part of the show. This Claudia was different but great.
They kind of needed to bring in even though Claudia's whole thing is she's a little girl, they kind of needed to bring in a older actress for some of the plot lines they wanted to pursue.
And I loved how, this is going to sound like shit, but I loved how, like, there's the Brady Bunch movie to a Very Brady sequel that's, like, in Hawaii. They go to Europe, and it's just so everything they do is just like, baguettes, let's do it.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, like, this show fucking rules, and if you're one of those, like, Twilight people who... Or if you're not one of those Twilight people, this show is still for you.
Yeah, I would say if you're a fan of any type of, like, vampire fiction
or a vampire,
you will probably like this. It does the same thing all other vampire stories do. It's just like some of the stuff you've heard about vampires is right, but some of it's wrong. And here's the rules for these vampires, and that's the best part of vampires is hearing, like, how they work at everything.
I also cannot believe on an AMC show post Breaking Bad and Mad Men, the production design. Like, this show looks absolutely incredible.
Well, is it on AMC or is it on AMC Plus? Which is like there's one time a year where I remember AMC Plus exists, and because they've always got one show that like is must see. And you have to be like, how do you even get AMC Plus? What is that?
Do you know the best way to start a streaming service is to end the title of your service with C+? Like, Cassie, it's going up against our number 20 seed, Senna.
Hell yeah, dude. Let's go. Okay, this is a Netflix joint. It's on. We're hopping on that F1 train now.
Hell yeah.
Ayrton
F1
Senna.
Train is a show I would watch.
This is them telling the story of Ayrton Senna, one of the best drivers in F1. It has both sides of this, so we get like the kind of like untold 30 under 30, but more dramatized. So we're getting like the nitty gritties, but we're also getting like his like. It's still telling his story from like his team basically, so it is very much like this is the greatest guy that ever existed.
Dude, yeah.
Like
there's that one scene where he's like I want the mechanic sent home when it's time for them to go home, and they're like, we don't do that, we make them work even if they don't want to. And he's like, I won't have that on my team. If you want me racing for you, you'll have the mechanics working normal hours.
And
they
I'm
will
sorry,
get
is this,
filet mignon.
is this full doc or docudrama?
A docudrama. It's
Hardcore docudrama.
docudrama.
Because this guy, spoilers, died on the track, and it's like it's like the biggest tragedy in F1. And so he comes off a little sanctified in this show. It's kind of like he like walks on water basically.
He's from Brazil. They make it seem like his family isn't that well off. His family was well off. They owned a whole like factory and everything.
Nobody. There's like one guy in the history of F1 who was not like a princeling.
Yeah.
Seriously, Lewis Hamilton is the only guy who ever struggled for anything in his life who's in F1. Everyone else is like the Marquis Day whatever, like 17th generation rich kid.
But this guy, they were like, look at his humble beginnings. As he got a go-kart at like age 4 and was able to race it. And then we go back.
Who amongst us did?
They have rich people in Brazil. Like it's kind of like a racist idea. Like he's from Brazil. How easy could he have it?
Oh, that must have been tough.
Well, I mean, just even imagine having $2 Brazilian. Like,
can you imagine? Once he gets big, he goes back to Brazil, and that's when you see how the real kids, like he goes back to a kid who gave him like a picture, and he like looks at the picture before every race, and he's like, your picture got me through these races and inspired me. It's a perfect drama, you guys. It's so good. And like he goes back to the kid, and the kid has like a self-made wooden cart that he just like downhill derbies, and like it's so inspiring. But it also, like I said, it has like the like 30 for 30, like it does attack the FIA for being corrupt, which is something that you will not get in Drive to Survive or anything else that focuses on
and
F1.
for like straight up being dangerous to drivers for almost the entire existence of the organization. Like only very recently have they actually made the sport safe at all. For years, drivers were like, this is so unsafe, please keep us from dying. And they were like,
Yeah, the one race where it all comes down to like legit, like 2 people had already died that same weekend, and they were like, call this race, and they were like, I don't think so. And then he goes out there, he dies. But
basically there used to be parts of the track where a car would spin out and then get stuck in the middle of the track, and then somebody else would just plow into them.
Yeah.
And they were just like, well, what are you gonna do?
You can't do anything. But it also, like, because he was like, at the time he wasn't that poor in Brazil, but when he came over, like, it was a very English, very white sport, so like he did have to
so there's a little bit of drama in the drama.
There's a little bit of drama in the drama, but we get drama from all the sides. But he is an inspiring person. It's also fun as an F1 person to just see, like, you see all these drivers pop up, and you're just like, oh my god, them. It's a good time.
And the old cars, like the old models of cars, which are like, you have a soft spot for like every generation of F1 cars. If you're into the,
you get to see a lot of history through it. So it's a fun time.
Was it crazy that the last episode, in the penultimate episode, he died, and in the last one he came back to life and said,
"Just kidding, everybody, I'm fine,"
and started Easter.
Now I'm made of gold.
All right, so that is our battle right now. We're going to Mike. It's interview with the vampire or Senna.
I'm more of a Fang Bang guy than a Vroom Vroom guy, so I'm gonna go with interview.
Any reason you want to vote, you can have it, I guess. Caitlin?
Wow, this is a really hard one. It's cars versus vamps, and I'm on both sides.
Oh,
like,
shit.
That is hard.
Yeah, wow.
If we could just
I'm gonna
get
go for
Caitlin a car with fangs, like,
yes.
It's
Yes,
called
please.
a monster truck, and they exist.
Yeah, seriously. You just showed your whole
it's out
ass.
there.
It's called Bigfoot. Look it up, okay? The 80s called. You should embarrass yourself.
I'm going to go with Senna.
It's fucking nuts. Greg?
Ultimately, I found Senna to be a little toothless
I could see it.
dealing with his protagonist, and I can't have that. Whereas Interview with the Vampire was full of teeth. I'm going with Interview with the Vampire.
Greg, would you say Senna was a hagiography or was it a hagiography? Because I can't remember which way to
Honestly,
pronounce
dude,
it.
I was like, I'm not comfortable with that word, but I think to use it all the time, and I was cycling between those two, and I was like, just say he comes off sanctified.
But it's one of those two, right?
Hagiography. That's what I think you would say. Hagiography.
And it definitely is.
I believe, and it is, yeah, because like Cassie said, they go after the FIA because fuck them, and honestly, do fuck them, but like it's not as engrossing when the protagonist is only shown as like good and virtuous because you know that's not who makes it in racing.
Yeah.
The people who make it in racing are the people who
Dirtbags.
would like
You gotta
fuck
be
over
a
their
monster.
Yeah,
Break
you
an
kind of
ankle.
do. They all like each other, but when it comes down to it, they fuck each other over constantly, and that's part of what's fun is because they're being little bitches to each other and acting cunty all the time. But he doesn't come across that. He doesn't come across that way enough. He was a killer. He was a killer. Every F1 driver is a killer, and that's how they should be portrayed.
Literally?
My favorite.
I mean, honestly, back then they would,
Just a little bit.
They endanger each other's lives every race. They do. They get in each other's way. They like do things they shouldn't do. It's better now than it used to be, but they do like play with each other's lives.
Cassie.
You know it, dog. It's Senna.
And I, after that werewolf thing from Caitlin, I'm going to send interview
I team
on.
Jacob. What did you think? You thought I was going to vote for a vamp?
We celebrate the whole immortal verse here.
In 2025, still be Team Jacob is fucking nuts.
You're crazy, Loca.
We're going to do one more before we take a break. Greg, the 12th seed, and I don't know if I could have understood the show because I did not see the first 99 Years of Solitude, is 100 Years of Solitude.
Yes, 100 Years of Solitude based
Yes,
on
Ryan, great.
the book of the same name. This is one of those novels that's called has been called unfilmable for years, and maybe it would be if you tried to turn it into a film. But this is a mini series. It's going to be, I think, 2 seasons, and they take their time with it. And what they do is they just bring a little bit more chronological order to the story. What is complicated about the idea of filming it from the novel version is that like it jumps through time so much. It's like as if somebody were telling you a story and then they think of a new detail and that causes them to like jump and not just tell it straight.
Which is fine with books.
Which is
terrible with jokes.
But it's hard with TV shows. And so what they did is they just kind of like imposed a little bit more order on it. But it's beautiful, it's sexy, it's funny, it's weird. They really did capture how serious and how weird the book is at the same time. And it's colorful and just very exciting and very engrossing. It's the product not of Brazil like Senna, but instead of Colombia. And it really like, I don't know, that Colombia pops in it as a vibrant, living, beautiful, like almost Edenic place. And you watch the history of this town, Macondo, and it's kind of the history of Colombia, but it's also kind of the history of just like mankind, and it's also kind of the path that one person takes in life. And so like you see this town go from primeval innocence to like a fully functioning but also corrupted town, and you see these kind of sort of like magical inhabitants that you really end up falling in love with. And what's nice about the show is it's easier to keep them straight because you remember what they look like, whereas the books, they're all named some derivative of like Jose Arcadio Buendia or Arcadio Buendia or Ariano Buendia.
There's George Michael. There's
Michael George.
Yeah, Michael George.
Yeah, Dennis Scott Dennison. But yeah, this is probably one of my favorite shows from the year, and even if you haven't read the book, I recommend it so highly.
It is I would say one of my favorite books of all time.
Yeah.
Just felt like I was so, like honored to be reading it. One of those books, like when you're halfway through it.
And you've heard it's difficult, but then when you read it, you don't actually experience it as much more than just enjoyable, right?
The whole time I thought this is difficult to film, but
Yeah.
I know I loved reading it. It's so good. And I just remember when I heard the show was coming out, it was like the middle of December. We were all fucking dick deep in other shows. And I think that I haven't looked at the release schedule, but maybe this is on the 2025 bracket as well. Like,
Oh,
do you
because
know
it
if
was
it was
so
a binge?
because it was so late.
Or like if there's any, and there were so many other shows we were talking about that if they released one episode in 2025,
Yeah.
maybe we can do it again next year.
That would be great because it deserves that sort of attention. And I'm not sure if everyone got a chance to watch it because it was so late in the year. But like, it's not just a lovely tribute to the book. It's not just like, oh, they actually did find a way to film it. It like on its own is so beautiful and transcendent and moving. Like I just can't recommend it highly enough.
And yet another show that so many people were waiting for forever, either dreading or hopefully waiting for, that just got buried by content. You know, like nobody talked about it.
Yeah, it was it was here and gone so quickly. And again, they have to start. Netflix has to consider releasing these things episodically, like week by week. I mean,
Every
right
week
now
they do a press release that says we will not do that.
I know. Yeah, they're like, we know. We have heard you say that for 10 years now, and that's not how we're doing it, obviously. So shut up.
Caitlin, it is going up against Agatha All Along.
Agatha All Along. This one, okay, so this is season 1, but it's a continuation off WandaVision. And this was a very fun, yet I feel like it had a lot of, like...
Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, a lot of Audrey Plaza moments. No, I really like this show. It had, like, a great storyline. You never knew what was going to happen. And the ending caught me off guard, who our main little boy was.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, it did, okay? Not all of us can solve riddles, okay?
I thought you'd seen a Funko or something that would have.
I'm not familiar with all the Funkos, Mike.
I thought it was good, but sometimes I think I say that because so much else is trash. You know, like I was so tired of watching MCU TV.
Yeah.
It had that WandaVision thing of every episode had a distinct feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I really liked the feelings of a lot of the episodes, and I liked the overarching story. But like the thing we say about a lot of these shows, it was just 1 or 2 episodes too long. But when they started getting to like the twists near the end of it, I thought it all paid off. I really enjoyed it. The chemistry between Aubrey Plaza and Catherine Hahn was like incandescent.
They would touch each other in some episodes.
And I'd
Right.
say the different chemistry between Joe Locke and Catherine Hahn of mentor, mentee, antagonist, like
Yeah.
we need each other, we hate each other. It's a killer cast. I think everybody did.
There's a lot of that. That's a very like common or very contemporary story, right? Like we see that in a lot of these shows of like we love each other, but we're also enemies, but we're getting the best out of each other, but we also kind of want to hurt each other, but also like we wouldn't know how to live without each other.
Couldn't relate.
I will also say that the best fictional band song since That Thing You Do.
Oh hell yeah! Down, down, down we go.
Also, they played it
Down
so
the
many
witch's
times that
road.
we all know all the words.
Yeah, I did.
It kept popping up on my Spotify. I could not escape that.
Also, shout out to some Disney Plus nudity. It's about time. You know, Catherine Hahn was the one to break that glass ceiling, and we love her for it.
First ass on Disney Plus.
Is that her
America's
tombstone?
ass.
Not the last.
No, you'll get there, Mike.
Thank you.
Swear you'll show your ass. All right, it is time to vote, and we are starting with Cassie. Is it 100 Years of Solitude or Agatha All Along?
100 Years of Solitude.
Greg?
I really liked Agatha all along, but 100 Years of Solitude, so much better.
Caitlin?
Agatha.
Mike?
100 Years of Solitude.
And 100 Years moves on. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to finish the play-ins. Our next battle's a wild one. It's our 15th versus our 18th seed.
That is wild.
Caitlin, I haven't got there yet, bud.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to be supportive.
But thanks for ruining podcasting forever. Caitlin, our 15th seed is My Adventures with Superman. Caitlin, our 18th seed is Superman and Lois. I'm going to give you the floor.
Oh my god. To just talk about Superman. I'm going to be honest, in my seedings, this was really hard to figure out which one of these would be ahead of the other because they're just so incredible. Superman and Lois, this is the last season of this show. And so it really wrapped up everything. We had one big bad, and we had at the end a lot of death, and I feel like there was a lot of drama throughout this, and it didn't all come from superhero things. There was cancer, there was a lot of emotions, but
The ultimate big bad.
yeah, the ultimate big bad of Superman and Lois is always cancer.
They call it the Big C.
the big, the Big C.
He just gets too much sun. That's why.
Yeah, skin cancer.
If you get that funky high long enough, it's gonna turn into a funky C.
Just got too much sun. But that was Superman. Like, do you want to talk about that one, or should I talk about both first?
We'll help Caitlin out here. On our sister show, the Superhero Show.
Yeah, there you go.
We spent a lot of the year talking about how Superman is back and doubling down and saying that if you've ever thought Superman was stupid because he had the most powers or whatever, then you're a moron. This was absolutely the year of Superman. Going into the year that James Gunn is attempting to revive him for the rest of the people that aren't superhero listeners. Cassie, I'll go to you first. Does one of these stand out as like the truer, pure Superman and the truer, pure TV show?
Yeah, for the more true Superman to me is Superman and Lois, because this is the one that we just like love so much. He's just such a like goofy dad, and then such a true Superman, like who like you believe him when he's like, I have to save this, like you feel the weight on his shoulders, you feel how true of heart he is and everything. Like he's just like this real hometown hero type of guy who you just like want to hug at the same time and protect, but also he's like the strongest man in the world. And then like My Adventures with Superman was like a surprising like it's a younger Superman, like figuring it out, still precious, but like the Superman and Lois one is the one that you like gravitate to for me.
Mike, as a critic and a voter, do you have a thing where like, well, this is Superman and Lois's last year, so they deserve to move on?
No, because while Tyler and Bitsy are the best Clark and Lois of the 21st century, like nobody touches what they bring to this
over
characters.
Dean Cain?
Over Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher. Though that was also a lot in the 20th century. So maybe that's partly why.
Fucking every college professor I've ever had.
You always want to bring up.
You're talking about modernism and not really postmodernism.
But no, good job, buddy. Here's a dog biscuit.
But they unfortunately had to share the screen with Jordan.
Yeah, that was a downside.
Not even Jonathan. Mostly Jordan really brought down that show, and like love CW, celebrate everything CW does. There's the CW-ness of it all. Where My Adventures with Superman is like a good show and it's well made. So like,
oh no.
You don't have to slog through like the seaweed to get to the treasure, to coin a phrase.
Is that what CW stands for?
Seaweed.
Seaweed.
I see weed, I eat it. 2 points of contention, Mike. One, I thought that My Adventures with Superman was a bit of a step down from the first season. Just not as fun, not as new. But Superman and Lois this season, one, had that insane Return of the King 17 endings final episode where everybody dies and
God,
they die in heaven and they go to second heaven and they all die again. But it also had one of the scenes of the year where Lois and Clark are telling Lois's dad that they're going to get married and that also he's Superman. And Clark stands up and he's like, "You can't marry Clark. He's a fucking reporter bitch and I hate him." And played by Nick Nolte. And Superman... and, you know, they say, and also he's Superman. He's like, no way. And then he takes off his glasses. And then the dad's like, oh, my God, damn it. The amount of cum in my pants is insane. I figured that there would be a ton of Superman in this bracket. I did not know that they would go mono y mono. I guess I'm glad because now one of them dies. Mike, My Adventures with Superman or Superman and Lois?
It's Doomsday.
It's got to be My Adventures with Superman for me, dog.
Caitlin.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, yeah. Do you
want me to go to you last?
No, Superman and Lois, this is the end of it. This is dead. Die early. Goodbye. It's My Adventures with Superman.
Oh, shit.
I love it, but he dead. And that, you're right. That whole death scene, it really killed it for me, but also I was crying at the same time.
Ryan was arguing for it.
For it, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. That one really crushed me because they brought in some actors that we didn't know in the last, 10 minutes of the show.
Just fucking Mervin's models in, full denim outfits.
They They should have put like elementary school theater old person makeup on Jonathan and Jordan.
That was just supernatural.
Oh, they would be from that show?
Oh, and Supernatural ending was like that. It was really bad.
Just old ass makeup. So was the
Old-ass makeup.
Leftovers ending. Great show. Terrible makeup at the end. Cassie, My Adventures or And Lois?
For the seasons that played, it's Superman and Lois for me.
All right, Greg.
Adventures of Superman.
The wrong show moves on, which is fine. That happens. The next show we're going to talk about is, of course, going to be talked about by one of our panelists here tonight, and I am so excited that it's going to be Caitlin talking about our number 7 seat, Interior Chinatown.
Yes, so Interior Chinatown, when I first saw this, I thought it was something, like I had no idea what to expect with it, and I was immediately blown away by how fun it was and different, and I don't know. It was a lot of fun.
Was it funny?
What's it about?
It was about, there's a character, Willis Wu, and he like works in a restaurant, and he's never good enough. He's always looking up to his brother, like, I wish I was like my brother, and I want to be a kung fu, like I want to do kung fu, but he's like working in a restaurant or something. So he's aspiring to do something bigger. Cassie, you want to help me out?
And this is stand-up comedian Jimmy O Yang.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got this fun mystery to it of like this severance thing of like you're trying to figure out what's going on.
Yes.
Because for some reason what?
Just comparing
The
it to like,
genre
one of
in
the
a
best
nutshell,
shows
but keep
lately.
going.
Okay, just keep going.
Oh.
It's at the same level of like it's very like for some reason he can't leave like nobody. There's these 2 detectives. One's played by Lisa Gilroy, icon. She's on the screen and you just are glued in. But they're playing this stereotypical like TV cops, like SVU, like going down the wrong path all the time. And for some reason they don't. Whenever he's on screen, they don't see he exists. He's like the key to everything, but like he can't even get into the police precinct. Like there's like these forces against him. So you have like this like drama playing out, and you're also trying to figure out what this world is.
Does anybody in the show ever say, "Forget it, Interior Jake"? It's Interior Chinatown.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm in. I fucking love it. Caitlin and I did try to split up these shows, but this is what the bracket wants. The bottom barrel of the bracket here is The Acolyte.
Okay.
Caitlin, do you want to tell us about that show?
Yes, I do actually want to talk to you about the show. I had a feeling that this might be at the bottom. So this show got a lot of criticism, but I do think it was a lot of fun. It's like a different type of Star Wars story, where we have a lot of witches and
Hell yeah.
the part that I don't love is the main characters like twins, and I don't love that whole thing, but everything around that I do like the
fuck
storyline.
twins.
Yeah, when there's a twin on a screen, I'd like, there's 2? Can't have that.
They kind of did something interesting with it, though, where there's like one
Clumps.
good twin and one bad twin, and then they kind of halfway through the show, they switch.
What?
And the good twin becomes the bad twin, and the bad twin becomes the good twin.
So they just rip off the mustache and give it to the other twin?
One has slightly longer hair.
But it did. What I liked about the Acolyte is it did a lot to like muddy the waters between what a Sith believes and what a Jedi believes, like by having them like exchange places and stuff. And who's the guy that played Jason from
Manny Jacinto.
Okay, dude.
I have to bring him up.
Daddy Jacinto. He plays like this. At first, he plays the same kind of character as he did on The Good Place. But then it turns out he's a little bit different than what you expect, and he becomes like a lot more serious. And then you are reminded of how very attractive that guy is. That him, like, you kind of have to spoil it to say that he kind of becomes like a bad guy in the show. But that was the most engrossing part of it. So it's like it was hard to tell people that they should watch the show to see that element of it, because that's something that's only revealed a little bit into it. But he is such a compelling character. He's one of the other like Knights of Ren. And like getting that backstory of who they are and seeing him, I don't know. This show got a lot of shit, and I thought it was actually one of the better Star Wars shows.
It got a lot of shit because it has a female lead character, or 2 female lead characters.
DEI woke. It's
Which
illegal now.
I did like the whole witches thing. Like, people really didn't like the witches, and we're like, Star Wars can't have witches. I like the witches part.
Read some of the novels.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
witches were definitely around back then, you fucks.
The Witches of Dathomir is actually like a huge part of the canon now.
Yes!
So it's not just this one show. Like
Yeah.
they're like a big part of the story. There's different ways to access the Force. Okay, it's not just the way the Jedi and the Sith do. You can do it the way the Witches of Dathomir do.
Which I thought how they did that and how they explored that was really fun. And I just thought it was a really good time of a show. And Manny Jacinto, his acting and his abs really was great.
Is he the Bortles of the Star Wars universe?
Dude, he just every time he pulls out his lightsaber, he goes Bortles, which it did take me out of it a little bit, but still, that's a good call.
I heard a lot of people sort of for the show and then against the show saying the same thing, is that like fucking Jedi are just boring, dude. Like watching Jedi on the screen, like we're just so tired of that.
And but the show seems to be an exploration of that. Like they're so boring that's why they all become the Sith. Like there's something out of balance. It's not like the Jedi aren't working. And I think that's part of what is making people upset is that like that's what Star Wars has been exploring lately is that like this is not a good model, honestly, the Jedi. Like they deny their humanity and that creates this opening for this other force. And so like I think that like that's what it's looking at, and you see that the Jedi are pretty awful in this, and I think that is also on top of like the representation. I think that is people aren't liking that. They didn't like when Luke Skywalker turned out to be a grumpy old man, and they don't like this idea that the Jedi don't have all the answers.
Bitch, wait till you become a grumpy old man. Like it's gonna happen. Do you think that Caitlin's love of Jedi and Superman is like her saying she actually does bad things all the time, and this is just a cover?
I'm actually a murderer.
Oh,
Surprise.
A murderer.
Surprise. I won't tell you who, though.
That's good. Yeah, you got to keep it to yourself.
When we talk about twin performances, I always have to ask about the actor. Amanda Stenberg, did she handle both parts well?
I think she's a great actor. I just don't like how they wrote her character. Like, I think she did well in delivering everything that she did, but I don't like what they did with it.
Yeah, by having a good one and a bad one, and then by having them switch places, you are like actually robbing a character of nuance rather than injecting it.
I still don't know. Is it like a Prince and a Pauper story, or is it
like one is under the tutelage of a dark Jedi and one is under the tutelage of a Jedi, and then they get switched because they're twins. So Shakespeare style, they just get like mixed up at one point, and it's not clear to the people that they've been mixed up, and they're also kind of like they have their own things that they're working on, and so you watch the one who is under the tutelage of the Jedi become like better even though she's evil, and you watch the one under the tutelage of the dark Jedi become worse even though she is like supposed to be good. And so it's like
a real nurture versus nature show.
It's about how teachers and masters, how they like, it's like Karate Kid. Remember Karate Kid? It's a story about teachers.
All right, we do have to go to a vote. It is Interior Chinatown, Cassie, versus The Acolyte.
Interior Chinatown for me.
Greg?
Acolyte for me. I'm so sorry, America. I don't know why I'm like this.
Caitlin?
Go to me last. This is hard.
Sorry, Mike?
If you think I'm going to vote against a Chloe Bennett joint, you are fucking high out of your mind. It's Interior Chinatown.
I was
guilty on both accounts.
so hoping we could get out of the Chloe Bennett conversation. All right, Caitlin.
I'll go get my sweatshirt.
Instead of being nude, that would be awesome. Caitlin,
Oh
what
my
do you
God.
think?
So I can tie it up? Oh, geez. I'll go Interior Chinatown.
And here's a little trick that you did not know, Caitlin. Whatever you picked was going to win. Interior Chinatown moves on.
Wow.
Thank you for that. Mike, your number 10 seed, and I cannot believe it's your number 10 seed. And don't say look, and don't have your eyes cloud over, and don't go into the fugue state that you normally
Holy
do.
cow. There's no way he's going to be able to start his answer without going, look.
I already assumed what show it could be.
Your number 10 seed is Love Island.
Oh,
Love
yes.
Island, Season 6, USA.
Look.
Every year, they've said UK is better and USA will never make it. Not this year, baby. Fuck UK Season 11. It was so boring. I bailed, and I hate how many of them are on Love Island All-Stars right now. But I needed to get that in my system.
Uh-huh.
What Season 6 USA, Snake Guy Rob, he was Casa Moore in a previous Season did not get enough of him. Now he's an OG, right? He's
Strong
there.
start.
Should he ever be on this show? No. He's a dreamboat, but he's a fucking weirdo. He's not going to be able to bond with these other people. He needs so much quiet time. At one point, to get out of an emotional situation, he hides under a pool bridge. But there's still cameras there, Rob, so they see that you're having your little freak out.
Do you guys remember Devin Saba writing Eminem a letter in that same video?
Leah, who's so big and called up people so accurately and meanly. She apparently post show she's a good person. I did not love her the way the rest of the fans loved her. There's so many great, perfect little moments. The dance off where Serena swerved and Cordell stuck, and nobody thought that's what was gonna happen.
He could just be making all this stuff. I love it. The pie eating contest. Who could forget the castor oil?
There was Mary. What is Mary Pie Kill? No, Pie is Kill. Fuck it. It's so good.
That
It was
misstep
so good
might
and
have been
so
her
fun.
whole nickname, and we don't know. Cassie.
Janae. They gave us Janae. Oh, Janae. Who my wife calls
Janae.
Mrs. Howard from Abbott Elementary if she was 20, so she's a smoke show.
Cassie, it's going up against Baby Reindeer.
That's crazy. Baby Reindeer. When I hopped onto this, so you get the little previews on Netflix, and you think it's going to be the story about just this stalker. So I came into it like more as like a thriller. I was not ready for how devastating this story would be. It's this comedian, the struggling comedian, who is nice to a person who comes into his bar. This person then begins to stalk him, but he also then starts like craving it because she kind of builds an audience for him and also gives him the attention he needs. And obviously all goes too far. You watch him have a full breakdown on stage.
Hides under a pool bridge.
There's cameras there. Pie kill fuck at some point.
He sees Snake Eye Rob ride a donkey over a rainbow.
Snog Mary Pie. That's what it's called.
Oh, of course, of course. But yeah, this one just truly, to see a man fully break and never be the same again is hard to watch.
This was a hard watch for me in so many ways. One, because of how open and honest and he was, and how terrible what he went through was. How terrible he was, and how open and honest he's being about that. But then also on the TV show critic side about how, like, I mean, is this based on a novel by Sapphire? Because you are pushing every button. Like, you are trying to do every fucked up, gross thing you can do.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it is memoir-ish, So I don't want to, take anything away from that. But also, man, what a fucking treadmill to run on this show was watching. Like,
there's no heroes. They're all, like, everyone is just like destructing each other.
Right.
Like there's no bright point.
The impression I got from this show, I would rather watch the Chernobyl melty dogs than watch even one episode of this. I'll watch dogs melt all day before I watch the kind of cringe-inducing.
I didn't
pull that out.
See, I didn't get that impression. All I knew was like Netflix hit, sleeper hit.
Same. That's all
right?
I knew too.
And so while watching this person have a mentor and be completely abused by this mentor because he might put him on TV, but also wants the attention, and then go back for more. At some point in Baby Reindeer, the stalker becomes like the B story, and the abuser becomes like what we're focusing on. Wow! But then also have to watch when he's on stage and how cringy and terrible that comedy is. It hit.
You didn't
all
like
of
his
my...
pun-based prop comedy?
I didn't, Mike.
Holy cow! See, that's so dispiriting. That series of words just like really, I could feel my soul leave my body a little bit.
Yeah, at one point he becomes like people start to like him, and you're like, in no world, this man is coming out with a suitcase.
All right, now I know
full
this
of
is bullshit.
That's not true because Carrot Top was actually very popular.
Yeah, and like it's a well-made show. It's not my favorite show, and I do think it. But okay, here we go. It's going up against Love Island, so let's see what happens. Mike, you're up. No, Caitlin, you're up first. Love Island or Baby Reindeer?
It's Love Island, babe.
Okay, but this was the U.S.
But this
We're
was
voting
the
for the
US
U.S.
one.
Okay.
You said that.
It's Love Island, babe.
Thank you.
I bet that's what we sound like to them.
We should play a game that's like, Caitlin, do an impression of the trashiest person in this country, and she'll just nail it.
Dude, if you wanna have fun, if you're talking to someone who does not speak English, ask them to do an impression of what English sounds like to them.
It's so good.
That is so good.
Put more eggs in my gun, partner.
It sounds like we're talking backwards, basically.
Greg, Love Island or Baby Reindeer?
Neither one is for me, but I think Baby Reindeer offers more.
Cassie?
Baby reindeer.
Mike?
The level of thought and care.
Look.
Did I say look? Did I do
No,
it?
you did it. No,
Just
sorry.
in my
The
tone.
audience does it for you.
the level of thought and care and master manipulation that the producers, they should win so many awards. It's Love Island all the way. It was the best show of the year.
Yeah, I mean, the manipulation in Baby Reindeer, I think, is there as well.
Producers of reality shows are so diabolical, dude.
Yes.
I want to be one so bad.
There's no way you could do that. You're too, your heart's on your sleeve, buddy. Greg, can you tell us about our 14th seed Tokyo Vice?
Tokyo Vice. You are looking at the one person in the whole world who has seen the show Tokyo Vice. It's about, in the early 2000s, an American reporter going over to Tokyo and wanting to become a journalist, and just what it is like to be an American in Tokyo at this time, what it's like to be an American journalist working for a Japanese newspaper, and then what it's like to be the cops pursuing the Yakuza in Japan. And it's ultimately very different than how things are in America, but because of the nature of power, like, it's just kind of like differently. The stages are different, but ultimately it's kind of the same stuff. It's just like the very powerful people getting away with whatever they want by sort of taking over every segment of society. It's about how if you're part of the Yakuza, you can't like just be kind of into the Yakuza. Like, they start taking more and more until they have all of you, and then the way in which they start to set their sights on taking over the whole country and not just like not being the mafia anymore, but maybe trying to be like the state itself. And even though it's about early 2000s Japan, that's it feels like kind of a very topical story now, right? Where the gangsters sort of like slowly acquire control of the country. I found it very good, and I'm sorry that it's gone, because it was a very cool sort of like mix of American and Japanese cultures and actors, and I just thought it worked on a lot of levels.
Better than the hit 1992 film Rising Sun?
Much better than that. Yeah, this imagines the Japanese as an actual people, and Japan as an actual place, whereas Rising Sun is like about America's idea of Japan. And in the same way that, like, if we end up talking about the show Shōgun, the difference between the book Shōgun and the show Shōgun, where like one is about the idea of Japan, whereas the other is about like actual Japan.
Oh no, I'm getting producers saying if any show is mentioned before it's brought up, it is stricken from the record. Oh no, that's terrible.
I thought for sure that producer was going to tell Mike that Shōgun should be called Book Gun, and then the show should be called Shōgun.
I was going to say this is one of many of Greg's shows that are based on a book, Tokyo Vice.
That's true.
Yeah.
So fuck reading forever.
It is going up against True Detective Night Country. May I?
Please do.
True Detective is the fourth season, or Night Country is the fourth season of True Detective, where they handed it to a lady after Nick Pizzolatto just pissed the whole thing away. Her name is Issa Lopez, and I thought this was the second or maybe first best episode or season of this show. I thought that even like it sort of dabbled in the supernatural and dabbled in the mystery, but that really isn't what the show was about. It was about how much this job can destroy your brain and your community, and trying to figure out what happened was so secondary. And I think that that's the pivot that this series needed.
It's great because, like, first of all, this is the true intellectual sequel to the original season of True Detective. What he lost the ability to do, she came in and was able to like capture again. It is not. I'd say it's the second best season. It's not unmitigated success. There's some. It really starts to fall down near the end, but then right at the end, when everything is fully truly revealed, like you are standing. you are standing and you are excited and it's amazing. Jodie Foster fucking kills it.
Like my biggest thing with this, and Issa Lopez as the showrunner and writer and everything about the show, maybe it was because of her. Like, you have to hire someone like her to do this. But this was one of the few shows I can mention like this that didn't seem like male characters. Their names were deleted, and then female names were put on top of the characters. Like, these were such incredible female characters and partners. I like, and this is like the same thing as The Acolyte of like, oh, why is this being review bombed? There's just, I have no idea why this would be happening.
Also, Jodie Foster is like 65 in this.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks so good.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like there's just hope for us oldies.
Yeah, this was incredible. With its faults, but I would say
warts and all, it's incredible. I mean, on balance, it is the second best season of True Detective, which is something.
Cut a couple episodes and then you're good. Cassie, we'll go to you. Tokyo Vice or True Detective?
True Detective.
Greg?
I'm gonna go with Tokyo Vice. I loved True Detective, but I'm gonna go Tokyo Vice.
Caitlin?
True Detective.
Michael?
I'll go Tokyo Vice.
And True Detective moves on. Cassie, our 11th seed is Arcane.
Okay, this is a fun one. Like, this is an animated joint based on League of Legends.
Yep.
So this is fun because like a lot of dramas obviously focus like are based in real world stuff. This takes you to a whole nother world.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is different. Like, we just get so many cool characters.
Very cool steampunk city.
Yes, everything has that steampunk edge to it for sure. But we basically have this big battle going on between like the underground, which has been treated poorly, and this high city. And like it's this like this season 2, you get the switch of like you are on the underground side because they have been treated so shittily. And it's like time, like they start off, you see them like do terrible things, so you're like, these are obviously the bad people, but then you realize like, no, it becomes a ACAB story, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's about class warfare for sure, as you would expect any video game show to be. The animation is amazing. The big story of this season was that it cost $250 million.
Oh.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know that it looks like a $250 million show. It does look like an amazing animated show, like the best animation for any show that we've seen. I think the best combination of like animation and music. There's like music videos kind of like throughout the storytelling in this.
Bands wrote for this, like
Imagine Dragons, which is not the first band I think of as being like awesome.
But isn't that fantasy? You just
Yeah, that's
imagine
why.
dragons and then they're that.
They did a lot of good music for this, but they're not the only band on the soundtrack. It just is a victim of it was just way too expensive. And I thought that like this story got a little convoluted, but ultimately visually it's the most stunning show that we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, it's got a good story between the two leads, like the two sisters. Like, you have this whole family dynamic going on, and like they get resolution. Like, you're rooting for them the whole time. There's strong characters. It's also gay. Love
It's
that.
gay, yeah.
It's a fun time.
Caitlin, what'd you think?
That same exact thing. It was a fun time. There was like the sisterly like drama and everything between it. Love that. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
But characters withheld, like it was a character-focused story despite the incredibly expensive animation.
Yeah. And there's so many, like, it's insane how many characters are like in the game that you like, or like in the big picture that is involved that you like care about. Like, there's so many strong ones that you're like equally invested in.
Did they promote it as a League of Legends show?
Yeah,
Or
it's
did
right
they
there in
not do that so everyone would watch and that blew up in their face?
It
I think
says
it's
League of Legends in the title.
Yeah.
But it's much bigger than League of Legends, and I don't think like I'm a gamer and I just never got into League of Legends. But the show, it's not like it doesn't require that you like video games or care about them at all. If you are a fan of animation, it's amazing, and I honestly recommend both the seasons for everybody. Season 1 was a little bit stronger, but season 2 also very strong. And again, they're in the whole $250 million for this, so it might help.
You gotta go give them a look.
Netflix is hurting. You know what? Don't even subscribe. Just send them a check. Miggity, Mike. That is going up against our 22nd seed, The Day of the Jackal.
Day of the Jackal. This is the year of shows specifically for Mike at the age he is at. Because Eddie Redmayne.
Black Doves is not even on this bracket.
Why not? That's horse shit.
We're slow horses.
We are all slow horses, though, aren't we, folks? But Day the Jackal's Eddie Redmayne is like a almost mythical assassin. He like there's whispers of him in the corners of MI6 and shady government operatives around the world. Like they're like, oh, there's nobody way he could exist. He shoots a guy from like 3 miles away in the first episode, and they're like, no, that clearly didn't happen. And then one MI6 agent is like, no, this is legit. I've been hearing rumors for a while. He's real. And they're like, you've been off the case. It's like classic cop shit, cat and mouse. And he has a room full of like rubber masks and different passports that his wife, who thinks he's like a corporate fixer, like that she finds that, and then he's like, no, that's what I do for corporate fixing. I have to intimidate people. And she's just like, okay. It's so fucking
You don't understand about corporate fixing.
Eddie Red.
Have you seen the movie, Mike?
From like the 70s?
Yeah.
Not the Bruce Willis.
No,
one.
not that one. The Jackal. The Day of the Jackal from like 75, I think.
I think so, but it's in the recesses of my brain.
Yeah. Just because it's a great movie, and it's the kind of movie that I could see really being expanded to like a miniseries and still being very engrossing.
It's very procedural. Like it's not intense. It's just like this is the day to day.
Right.
It's kind of dry,
assassin.
and that's
Yeah.
like that. That's what's so interesting about it, because it's just like everyone's going to their jobs, including him. And he's like just very workmanlike about it. Like he's just not like, I don't know, like trying to like smoke a cigarette and flick it at the last second and like, pull down his shades and be like, you just got jacked.
I mean, it's the killer. It's what David Fincher was trying to do with the killer.
Yeah.
With Michael Pat. Mike, was there a part in the show where they had like a Far Side desk calendar and they ripped one off? And it was the one where like the gate kid is trying to push where it says pull.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then they
gosh,
ripped that Far Side and it said the day of the
And
Jackal.
that's how they knew they were fucked.
Fuck, here we
MI6 was
go.
like, we are not going to win today.
I'm so sick of my daughter saying to me MI6 because it's like, no, you're 4. Like,
Ew. This was the one I really wanted to watch that I just didn't get around to. Like, this was the one I wanted to see so badly.
but like Mike is in his True Data era with this TV, with Reacher, The Day of the Jackal, Black Dove, Slow Horses. Like
Yeah,
these shows
dude.
are out there for you if you want them.
And
This is Mike programming.
and it's great because like we've had versions of this forever, but like suddenly like great actors are in it. And it's well written because any of this, it's gonna your cat and also cat is who it depends on, and it's Eddie Redmayne and Lashana Lynch are our two, and they hold it together. And there are times where you watch it, he is the assassin, but there's times you're like, but is Lashana Lynch like she's worse, right? Because she's kind of shitty to her kids and husband. Like,
I am not selling my Lashana Lynch stock.
No.
She is going to be a superstar.
yes,
I firmly believe. All right, let's go to Mike. Day of the Jackal or Arcane?
Day of the Jackal.
Caitlin?
Arcane.
Greg?
Arcane.
Cassie?
Arcane.
Arcane moves on. When we come back, we have our Sweet 16. And the battle begins. Our number 16 seed is Bad Monkey. Cassie, our number 1 seed. And I feel like this is where you feel like the critical consensus is out. Our number 1 seed for drama series of the year is X-Men 97.
Hell yeah, dude.
Wait, let's not jump to conclusions. Do Wolverine. Do Gambit 2.
This season, like, highly anticipated, obviously for us, but everyone too. It had a lot of expectations to live up to, and it did not disappoint. Expectations.
I'm sorry, Cassie, did you spend
Sorry,
the last
keep
5
going.
years of your life going through back episodes of Bad Monkey or Day of the Jackal?
I'm sorry, when you talk to anybody, are they saying Bad Monkey formed me as a human being? No, it's clearly X-Men. This one, as soon as like the new version, this one came on the screen, he was like, hey, here's all the characters you love. They're a little bit more slutty. And I was like, I'm here for
Yeah.
it. Gambit's in a crop top. And I was like, absolutely, yeah. This is the only Gambit I will
They're
vote for.
messy as shit.
Yeah.
They're all so messy.
Roll, hand me those scissors. This shirt is too long.
And every episode is like 10 comics. Like so much stuff happens that by the
Yes.
middle of the episode, you're like, I guess that's everything. And then something big happens.
I have a question. Caitlin, I'll go to you. Do you remember an episode besides Remember My Name, the Gambit death episode? Do you remember a single other episode?
I remember when Gambit wore a crop top.
Okay. Mike,
yes.
do you remember anything else?
Oh, I do remember more too.
Shut up, Mike.
Caitlin's got something. Let her
I
cook.
got something. Professor
Caitlin,
X.
go.
He's dead, right?
Uh-huh.
Or is
Oh,
he?
yeah.
I was just on another planet for a little bit.
I just
I
didn't
do
want to
that
deal with you
sometimes.
guys.
This season was so much fun, like, because I do think there was like the X-Men of the past, but this one I do feel like it's more grown up and it is for the adult audience. So I really do feel like it qualifies under this drama category, because like you could have crazy tears at the end of this. There is like so much conflict within the group and so much that has happened, and it was delightful, but also sad.
Imagine if your
Heartbreaking.
wife turned out not to be your wife, but instead was the clone of your wife, and then your real wife shows up and she's like, do you still have feelings for my clone? And you're like, I don't know. Kinda.
Wait,
Kind
why
of,
did
I did
Mike
love
raise
her.
his hand and say, look?
Look, I was putting it because you're like, do you remember any other episodes? And I was going to point out the Madeline Pryor episode, or also episode 1, which we definitely remember what it was about. But that was the episode where finally Ryan and I don't look like crazy people saying Cyclops is cool for years. The rest of
Scooting
the world
around
was
that
finally
room with his
introduced
beam?
to cool Cyclops.
Yeah, dude. He like
That's in it.
integrated it into like his fist fighting.
Yes.
They
That
tried
was
so
fucking
hard.
cool.
That was the worst
Yes.
part of the whole series.
You're the worst part of the whole
Would-
series.
Cassie, the
and I
world.
lo-
Cassie and I didn't watch this episode because of how cool Cyclops
There-
was. Is that what you're about to say?
No, we watched it and we looked at each other like, oh fuck, Ryan's not gonna shut up about
We
this.
literally were like, God damn it, it's his redemption. But this one has like the reality TV messiness with full drama. Like this one literally combines like all worlds, and like anybody could hop on this.
The
Like, this one-
animation's amazing. The like
Yeah.
fight scenes in the end. I don't know if you guys know because you watched the show, but like back in the 90s, the cartoons, when it came to like a fight scene, they would like show you the fight from far away,
Yeah.
and it would be like 3 actions repeated for like 5 minutes.
It cut to a reporter being like, "Oh, look at that
They're
over
fighting.
there!
Wow! Oh, if you could only see what I'm
Holy
seeing,
moly.
it's epic. In this, there's like very choreographed fights, and they're super long and exciting.
But like, you want to talk about squeals? Like Gambit dying is one of the
Spoilers.
scenes of the year, but Rogue leaving Gambit's bedroom to go to Magneto's
Hell
bedroom.
yeah,
Are you shitting me
dude.
right now?
And they
Messy.
sex
Yes.
up. Like they're doing it. They're going for it. I can touch you, Rogue. Oh, hell yeah.
Hell
Yeah, you can.
Guys, our number 1 seed, and I feel like that's how you know this is not critical consensus anymore, right? Like it's just X-Men 97 is going up against Bad Monkey. Mike, do you have any final words for that show?
Nope, you should check it
Do you
out.
wish there was
guys.
an X-Man named Bad Monkey? Hit Monkey is not a mutant.
I remember Hit Monkey.
Bad Monkey.
The Hulu
would be better
original
than
Hit Monkey. Man, it was right. It was on after MODOK.
Unfortunately,
Y'all
it was more of a
remember
flop
MODOK,
monkey.
you wet bitches?
I love when Greg says on after. Like his
Yeah.
parents were like,
Yeah.
can we change the channel during prime time?
man.
And he's like in his pajamas already saying, no,
It's Hulu Fridays.
TGHF. Mike, it is X-Men 97 or Bad Monkey? Caitlin?
It is
X-Men
X-Men 97.
Cassie?
X-Men.
Greg?
X-Men, Ryan.
I'm going to go Bad Monkey because I understand how TV works, but I guess you fools can
You're a
have this
bad
one.
monkey.
Try making your show out of drawings next time.
I'm going to give 30 seconds to Greg and Mike only.
Okay.
It's Fallout versus Say Nothing.
Oh, I think we're going kind of head to head on this. I feel like Fallout made way more of an impression and captured way more of the spirit of right now.
It came out earlier in the year and is a fun, bright show that children can understand. Where Say Nothing is super heavy and talk about like the morality of freedom fighting
That's
and what
in
that will do to a
Fallout.
community. And so, but there's not quips because it's realistic. So people blow up and there's glass in their face and they're not like,
I'm really through the looking glass now. No, but I do need to go to the hospital.
Oh, fuck. In Say Nothing, there was a guy who, like, ran for miles away from the cops and then dove through one window and got so injured he almost died.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Movies make it seem like you can just jump
Yeah,
through
Yeah,
the
that
window.
no
but
problem.
In real
I'm
life,
Tom Cruise.
yeah.
And
you
he
just
fought
can't
it.
pass
He
through
fought
glass. Like,
it.
you can't punch through glass. You can't jump through glass. It'll get you.
I do like that scene showed up that this group has guns hidden
in the
around
peony.
the neighborhood,
Yeah.
and you just have to remember which house is the
Can
right
you imagine
house.
though diving into a house that is against you, just throws a Trump flag in your face and kicks you in the gut? Cassie, Fallout or say nothing?
It's Fallout for me.
Greg?
Crawl out through the fallout.
God. Kaylin?
Fallout.
Unbelievable. Unfucking Mike?
Say nothing, Mike.
Say that.
What?
It's one of the, it might be better than X-Men.
It's clearly better than X-Men, but Caitlin just held a fucking bomb above your head and said, say nothing, Mike.
I know. It's
Fallout
good.
moves on to fight X-Men in the next battle.
TV for adults. Prestige era, everybody.
All right, your next battle is with Interview, which we've already talked about. So, Cassie,
Yeah.
Batman's Caped Crusader is up next.
Batman's colon.
It's a dirty colon, you guys.
He did not drink all the syrup the night before.
They simply could not do the procedure.
Yeah, so annoying. So annoying, all that prep for nothing.
This was a DC joint that was actually good. And if I enjoyed it, that's how you can know you can hop on it, because it was surprising. Give this Batman a shot.
All right.
Kind of like harkens back to the Batman the animated series, but also doing its own thing, including making some more of the characters female and making some of those females pretty thick.
Let's, on our sister show Superhero, we went through all of X-Taz because it's ridiculous, and we have held back from B-Taz because it's
too
not
good.
ridiculous. It's just
Yeah,
too good,
it's too-
and we won't know when to make jokes. Mike, how much was the B-Taz shining through here?
Oh, Bruce Timm came back, and so his visually sumptuously designed, like Art Deco noir, all time is no time, we exist in our own fucked up Gotham world is here. But it also is very much even more than BTAS, like in the 40s, except that everybody's cool with a black commissioner. So again, it's picking and choosing what part of reality we're
Does
running
that,
with.
Mike and Greg, you two novel reading nerds, is that a genre of like futurism, like Art Deco futurism? Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Does it have a name?
It's called Batmaning.
That's Batman.
No, but I think that kind of melange of different time periods is... I think it's done other places, but I think that Batman the animated series is what really like locked it in as like like at a good aesthetic, you know, where like the cars are from the 30s, everyone's wearing a hat, and then Batman has a big computer.
Right.
'Cause what looks best?
Yeah.
That's what the guiding light is what era had the coolest insert thing here.
But
so we are all about great big cars and Tommy guns, but internet.
It's like Batman watched Star Trek and nobody else did. And the thing that killed me about this series, like, I live and die for BTAS. I think that, like, I don't know if there's a show that, like, made me more other than The Simpsons about who I am, but, like, this show, each episode was, like, a different movie or genre that would have come out when Batman's parents died. Like, there's a different 1930s movie to each episode, and that's really what floored me. Is that was the big difference, is just sort of making it more, like, making it better and more genre filled.
Also, it throws in weird origin stories that you never thought you needed about Batman, like the origin of him calling him Alfred.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He calls him Pennyworth for like the first 6 episodes, and then the 7th episode he's like, "Thank you, Alfred."
You're a human being.
And that's what an arc, what a character arc.
And it's like a younger Batman, which I know that's been done a lot, but I just think it like always works. Like Batman a little bit less experienced, you know, a little bit younger, still trying to figure out like how to do what he does,
But not like tripping and falling on his cape or his grappling hook, but
or
just
stalling the Batmobile.
Yeah, right. Well, clutch is hard, Greg.
It's hard.
It's hard to drive clutch. Yeah, just like I just don't know how to like lead a family. I don't know how to be a leader. You know. All right, Cassie, Batman Caped Crusader or Interview with a Vampire.
Batman for me.
Greg.
I really did like Interview with a Vampire, but I was kind of blown away by Caped Crusader, so I'm going with that one.
Caitlin.
I'm also going with the Batman.
Mike.
Batman.
And I will be going with Interview.
Drawings, man.
Yeah.
He's so sad about it. Yeah.
Mike. The number 5 seed is Ripley.
Believe it or not.
Oh, the way that they brought that show back. Like, we thought we could believe or not everything, but there's more things in the modern era.
Mike, I have a timer going, and you have a limited time to talk about Ripley.
This gorgeous black and white shot. It's The Talented Mister that we've all heard. Longtime movie of the year fans know we've covered the movie, and that movie rules. And they're redoing it with Hot Priest.
That's everything.
Did we not see that movie? I just watched it by myself, and now any movie I assume we did it.
Based on the Patricia High Street novels.
Based on the Patricia. Hot Priest is Ripley. That actor is almost 50 and is hanging out with late 20-year-olds, and they're all peers, and it's believable because this is how good of an actor he is.
This was such a weird thing for people because Matt Damon played him before. The almost 50 thing makes it creepier. Like I felt like that all worked in his favor.
Oh no, yeah, I'm not dogging it at all. It works, and you get to see they really dig into Tom before and during, and he is a creepier con man than the movie version ever was. The movie, he almost like fell into it because of passion. This is no. This guy's a dirtbag. He can't stop being a dirtbag, and it is great. And again, just stare at it. It's every shot is a picture. It's beautiful to look at, and it's Italy porn.
Absolutely, like it is like Travelocity. Like it is so amazing to look at because like the camera, the black and the white is so beautiful, but it's just a thing that is dedicated to this thing that my mom always said when I was a kid, which is like it takes less time to do it right than to be lazy.
Yes.
And he is just always so lazy that he fucks himself.
He's working so hard so that he never has to have a job. Like he never stops hustling, but he can't be a normal person. And the show I think really captures that. You sometimes get bored watching him do his cons and like prepare things and stuff because it is so much work, but that's the only type of work he will do.
But I think that the smartest thing about the show, besides shooting everything so gorgeously, is filming him slowly learning how to forge a letter. Yeah. In the same way that he slowly brings a dead body down the stairs. It's all just it's all just like day to day for Ripley.
And Johnny Flynn, you might know him from Lovesick if you're a weirdo who watched that show a long time ago, but he plays Dickie. I like his Dickie is a lot more savvy and a lot more human than Jude Law's Dickie.
Yeah.
And so you're like rooting for him more than when you're like fucking killed Jude Law if you're watching the movie.
A big part of what this show leans on, that even more than the movie did, is that like everybody sees what Tom is doing. But there's like this social pressure not to be like, hey, we know what you're doing.
My favorite thing. Yeah. Manners is what kills us all.
And again, that feels extremely timely, even though this is a book from, 50 years ago or whatever. Like the inability to just be like, I think you are obviously scamming and killing people. You just can't get yourself to do it. And so you just keep implying it. And he just keeps saying like, making it clear, yes, that is what I'm doing, but I won't fully admit it. And it's like, we don't know how to get there. We don't know how to like figure that out.
You go to say you should be arrested, and instead you say, "Coffee downstairs."
Yeah, exactly. So like he will do something like that, and you can hear the other person being like, "I shouldn't. I should demand that you see me right now," but they can't. They just go along with the plan.
The Philip Seymour Hoffman character of the movie is played very differently. That was a hotshot, cool guy. This is a person who is very close to our Johnny Flynn, but knows right away and just can't pull the trigger. And part of it is because they are also so fake. So even though I know that you're fake in criminal ways, I'm fake in my heart, so I can't do it.
And Tom is perfect because the minute after he meets Freddie and he's with Dickie, he's like, well, that guy's a piece of shit liar, right? Right. He's breaking all the rules they should all be breaking.
And then everyone's like, well, I wouldn't hang out with a piece of shit liar. So therefore they defend even though they should. I also want to shout out to, is it Dakota?
Yeah.
Dakota.
Who is just absolutely cooking here with almost no monologues or FYC scenes. She's just like, she's sizzling. Like, I know what's happening this entire time, and I have no choice but to just sit here and watch it happen.
Acting
These
is really
kids
acting, right?
might make it.
As a family?
Yeah. They're very good.
That is going up against 100 Years of Solitude. Greg, do you want to say anything else about that?
A fight of books. I think it's interesting that this is our most colorful show versus a black and white show. But I have to say, if you're like, I don't know if I want to watch a show that's all black and white, it makes a case for itself almost right away. It is so visually stunning. I mean, it really, to take a place as beautiful as Italy and as sun dappled and as brightly colored and make it look more beautiful in black and white. But this is good. This is a tough matchup for me because 100 Years of Solitude is a profoundly beautiful show in so many different ways.
Ripley is like if you took a podcast and put it on 0.5 instead of 1.5, you just put it on 0.5. Like it's a very not thrilling thriller, but it will, if you have your phone in front of you, get your eye and make you put your phone down because of everything that it does.
Yeah.
Cassie, Ripley or 100 Years of Solitude?
I'm gonna go Ripley.
Greg?
I'm gonna say 100 Years of Solitude.
Kaylin?
Ripley.
Mike?
Ripley.
Yeah, I do feel like that 100 years got fucked here, but
Came out so late. Why are you releasing your shows in December or January? That's too late.
We're critics.
January is too late.
Yeah, that's true. Our number 2 seed, because X-Men 97 was our number 1 seed. Greg, our number 2 seed is Shōgun.
Wow. I was a fan of this book for a long time. And there is a miniseries that was on CBS, which actually was pretty impressive and very good and super high budget.
And you watched that before you even knew about the show?
Yes, yeah, because I was a big fan of the book and I read it a couple times, and then
Nerd.
and then I found out about the miniseries, and so I watched it. But I don't like. You hear like made for TV movies, which is what it was, and you might think like very small, but they used to be kind of big productions, and it was back in the day. But still, it is dwarfed by this FX production. The culture clash of the Catholic Portuguese, the Dutch English, Protestants, the different factions of the Japanese, all like leveraged against each other, all pursuing like a routine to try to like conquer each other and subject each other, and like watching all of these things play out in a much more realistic like Game of Thrones type way.
Yeah, it's maybe in a Cold War, but it is like very, palace intrigue style, where not anybody sending an army to another army, but instead like, oh, that bitch is going to get that shit? No, we're going to get that shit. And these are full countries we're talking about.
And whoever pulls a sword, it's like, what, bro, that is not the rules. Now you have to die. I know we're all at war here, but we don't actually attack each other, so go kill yourself, please.
And it's interesting because it's all these different cultures, like, that it all look at the world differently and have their different like mores and everything, but ultimately the expression of power is the same across all of them. Like you can call yourselves a Portuguese Catholic, or you can call yourself a Dutch Protestant, or you can call yourself a Shinto samurai, but at the end of the day, this is just raw power.
Yeah, and like you can tell that in that it doesn't matter what two countries or cultures are in the same scene together, they're just screaming savage at each other.
Yes.
Are you not us? You're savage then.
Yeah.
And like you do things different, but no, it's like you are terrible.
And just so many new. It's a vast cast, but so many nuanced ways to be a bastard. It's one of those great no good people. So nice to watch.
I do want to talk to you guys about this. This show works because of or despite Cosmo Jarvis, that's his real name, performance as the lead character.
I have to say it's very different than the book or the original miniseries, where this guy was like kind of master of the universe and could automatically just like acclimate to any new cultural climate. He's kind of like a fuckboy in this, and kind of like he just like blunders around.
He's Mr. Bean.
And I do think that is, in a way, a much more realistic portrayal. Like, he's unable to acclimate for a long time because he's, like, kind of dumb.
But, like, it's not just that, though. I think it goes further than that, in that, like, we watch a Wes Anderson movie, and we're like, oh, all these actors just got on the Wes Anderson page. Like, they're all acting like they're in a Wes Anderson movie. And this guy, this fucking dumbass white guy, just comes in, and he is not. Everyone is so subtle and incredible.
Yeah.
And he is just screaming and yelling like a baby dropped.
You know what it is, Ryan? The book and the original miniseries centered the white experience, and it doesn't make sense to center the European experience in this story. What makes sense to center is the Japanese story.
Right.
And so, whereas he was cool and collected in the original, he is dumb and out of place, because to really see him through the lens of how the contemporary Japanese society would see him, he has to be even bigger and more bombastic and stupider, so us Americans can see him being stupid in a way that would like clock more to Japanese audiences.
I mean, I think it's such a tribute to the show that it is so obvious and blatant and absolutely works.
Yeah.
Like, the lead actor who has won all the awards, that is not him. He has never been nominated for any major award. Cosmo Jarvis, the lead actor who has been nominated for awards, sending him off that boat over and over again. Like, oh, we just need to see how you dive.
Yeah.
And that's just how you treat Americans. Of like, no, do it again, buddy. And we're just going to wear you out until you're not as fucking dumb as you clearly are.
The story is really about Toranaga.
Yes.
Right? And about his complete understanding of what power is. And what's revealed over the course of the show is that he's always like in command of the situation, not because he's actually in command, but because he's constantly suing for a little bit more time, thinking of exactly what he needs to do next. And he really does control everybody to like a degree that nobody else in the story does.
Which is just such a crazy balance of like, I'm scared to be leader and I know exactly how to be a leader.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that, like, when you guys watch this, like, if you had seen this a month before the first episode came out, wouldn't you say like, this is going to be a flop? It's so complicated, and it was everyone loved this. Like, this has the ratings of Game of Thrones.
I mean, I thought everybody would love it just because of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It's a Game of Thrones where you remove the dragons and then you bring in more, like, real history. It's still fictional, but, I mean, it really is, like, the story of the, the first shogunate in Japan. And so, like, but I thought people would like it because also we in America are addicted to samurai.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we just love it so much and we can't get enough. And I think that, like, the show plays on that very effectively.
We are the movie Rising Sun.
Exactly. America invented a version of Japan and then absolutely fell in love with it. I think what this show does is a good job of kind of introducing a little bit more of the actual Japan into the story. And our culture has been like, because we've actually started imbibing actual Japanese productions, we understand Japan in a way that in the 80s we didn't. Like, we didn't want to understand Japan. We wanted to understand America's dream of Japan. This instead shows us more of a history grounded in, like, how Japanese people might tell their history.
The show, straight up at the very beginning, said, your husband fucked up, so he's got to die. Also, your baby's got to die.
Yeah, dude.
We got to make that happen. All right. Here we go. I'm going to start with Mike. It's Shōgun versus My Adventures with Superman.
Shōgun.
Caitlin?
My Adventures with Superman.
Okay, Greg?
Shōgun.
Cassie?
Shōgun.
All right. I don't even have to weigh in. Next one is a quickie, because we've already talked about them. It is Interior Chinatown versus Baby Reindeer. So everybody think about what they learned about those two shows in the last segment. And I'm going to start with Cassie. Interior Chinatown versus Baby Reindeer.
Interior Chinatown.
Greg?
Yeah, Interior Chinatown, way more my jam.
Caitlin?
Interior Chinatown.
Mike, why not?
Baby Reindeer.
I agree, Mike, but we have been shot out of that.
That show got melty dogged.
Yeah,
It had the emotional equivalent of melty dogs, so it was escorted away.
So it cannot be
no matter
here
how
no
good
more.
you are, you got to get out of here.
Greg,
Ryan.
your number 3 seed is Industry.
Industry, I love this show. It's all about, like, how do we love each other and work together if we are also all addicted to money and trying to get ahead.
Addicted to addiction?
Addicted to addiction. But it's like you run with a social circle, and it's also your professional circle. And so your friends are also your competitors, and your enemies are also like your family. And so you end up like dicking over the people who are closest to you to sort of get closer to people who hate you so that you can advance in a career that's slowly destroying you, so you can buy drugs that are like quickly killing you. Like, and all of it,
Hell yeah.
all of it feels like being a modern person, right? Like, I mean, that is like what we are. Their rat race is an extreme version of what we experience too, which is that like you have to hustle and you have to grind to get any like enjoyment out of a world that is like kind of terrible.
I mean, what if like what you went through during the day takes a downturn and now it's boring? You can't have that.
No.
So you got to lift it up. I love how like this shows that the American dream is either having a boring job and then going home and drinking a lot of wine and drugs, or having a very exciting job, going home and drinking wine and doing a lot of drugs. Either way, bitches, we're fucking getting fucked up tonight.
I do have to say, I thought near the end of the season, some potential shark jumpy things kind of happened.
Oh,
and
for
I
sure.
thought what made the first 2 seasons work was that like it didn't get too over the top dramatic, and I felt like they sort of like lost faith in their ability.
This
to
is
keep
where
doing
Max
that.
forgets about HBO. But let's go to Cassie and Mike, guys. Cassie and Mike, what'd you think of Industry?
Cassie.
I thought this was like my intro. Like I thought I wouldn't be down for this, but there's something about just seeing like this industry like break people, even though like they can be good people, but once you put them in this environment, like it brings out the worst. Like everyone's bringing out the worst in each other. If it's just them like overexerting themselves for this, like it's just the environment will kill you ultimately. And there's like, and like this is like HBO viewing, like each episode you will see a full dick. Like there will be like a 1-to-1 ratio.
Flaccid. I feel like as a culture we've gotten to flaccid dicks. Like I think it's about time to start getting some of these things.
Show
erect.
us hard
Like,
dicks, you
that's the-
cowards.
Or
right?
you know,
I mean, that's a better look for the dick.
there is an alternative. Flaccid
Taffy.
dick, hard as steel balls. Just big,
Gleaming.
giant, stuck
Here's the
out
thing.
balls.
A lot of these flaccid dicks you're seeing, they're not even the real dick of the actor. Like, show me the guy's dick or, like, fuck off. I don't want to look at, like, some weird merkin and dildo experience. Like,
That's my
and
favorite
can we
jam
get it
band,
a little
though.
torqued?
Be
Like, I
brave.
mean, can we get, like, a Kevin Bacon style, like, semi going here? Wild Things era? Like, you know, at least half
Yeah, do a
staff?
pump or two.
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, dude, let's get a Jimmy Carter half staff going.
Kevin Bacon, if you were looking for work, your little wiener, no, your big wiener can stand in for a lot of people.
And he is looking for work because he got scammed out of a bunch of money. That's why he started being in
Oh,
stuff
no.
again. Yeah, he was one of the Bernie Madoff clients, and that's why he's like, I'll be in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. The Christmas
holiday
special.
The
Yeah,
Christmas
dude.
special.
I
Daddy needs a paycheck.
my stance, I don't think I'm the first person to say this, is Succession for dummies. I think it's shot like prestige TV. The writing, I don't think, is quite there. And like there's no fun bite to how they're mean to each other. They're just stupid, blunt forces at each other all the time. And yeah, I found it an unpleasant watch.
That's insane. You're a moron. And I, towards my end of the industry binge that I went through, I started thinking Succession is industry for dummies.
Ooh,
Yeah.
turnabout. They say it's
I'm gonna
fair
say
play.
the thing you
It
said.
is fair play, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of agree with both of you in that I do think it's maybe Succession for dumb people, and hey, I'm dumb people. Like
That's where
you know?
I can't argue with it because I couldn't get Succession, but I could get Industry.
Yeah.
So
Give me a show where people are like doing business, screwing each other both financially and literally, and
But
then like
with
doing
succe-
bumps and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. With Succession and industry, every 4 scene, you're like, I'm out. I don't know what they're talking
Yeah.
about. It's just like business. Numbers on the Dow are odd.
We got to move the jargon
But
here.
I
to
would
Some of the Buffett's here.
The graph is here, but we need it here. Slightly
Line go
higher.
up.
I don't know if anybody. Look, Succession is a better show, Mike. Look.
Look.
I'm gonna say that Succession is a better show, but I don't know if anybody was as compelling on Succession than Ken Young's character. Trying to be the boss of this floor of young people, but knowing that he's getting older, and then throwing his friend under the bus for having a little bit of dementia. Like,
Just a scotch.
Just the littlest bit.
But yeah, it's like this guy's like kind of his mentor, kind of his like super close friend. They have super close emotional moments, and then this
and
section
Ken
comes-
Young also has mentees that
Yeah.
he's also fucking with.
and trying to actually actively fuck. Yeah, I mean it's all these really bad people, and then they're enter into this crisis moment, and they just do the worst thing they can think to do.
It's just that when we were kids, we were like, the worst thing we could ever do is like buy a house and have children. Like, that's so lame. And now after watching shows like this, I'm like, fuck, let's all save up to buy one house because that's our only option. And yeah, like that, I just want to not do this.
I bet watching the show makes you feel like father. This show is all about how bad parents can be.
All right, Mikey, It's Industry versus True Detective.
Do you know what was weird about Industry is seeing Jon Snow with a modern haircut and a T-shirt. What the that fucked me up. That dude should never be in a T-shirt.
Yet in a meeting room, he pulled out a sword and he was like, "How dare you speak to me like that?"
That made sense to me. It's True Detective.
I thought he looked great on this show. That is another example of a guy with long hair looking pretty good, and then cutting it down to like a real man's hairstyle and being like,
"Wow,
that guy
what's
just
up,
went,
gender norm Greg?"
That guy just went from an 8 to a 10. No, watch an episode of Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. They almost always take a guy with long hair,
Yeah.
and you're like, he looks fine with his long hair, and then they cut it into a real haircut, and then it's like, wow, that guy just got 2 points easy.
If you ever want to look good, grow your hair long and then cut it short.
Yeah.
Caitlin, it is Industry or True Detective?
This is a hard one, Ryan. I'm going to have to go with Industry.
All right. Craig?
Yeah, I liked True Detective, but I loved Industry.
Cassie?
Industry.
Industry moves on. Cassie,
Yeah.
the 6th seed
Mm-hmm.
is the Traitors.
Traitors. Let's freaking
Come
go.
to my castle.
We've lost control, Ryan.
Yeah, this is...
We are unnecessary.
Everybody was like, "Oh, Industry, boring."
Traitors, yes.
Is has the greatest host of all time, Alan Cummings. He brings the drama. This probably wouldn't have been the hit that it was if we did not have this dramatic bitch hosting it. And I mean that with the full respect that it deserves. He has
The outfits,
the best looks.
The outfits are on par every single time.
The way
Where's a reality TV show that has to have a recap at the end of the season? Like, look at the host looks. There's a whole 5 minutes.
No.
That's just like, look at how hard this dude fucking flexed on everyone.
As a reality show nobody's ever said, "Hey, watch Survivor because of Jeff Probst. You got to watch Survivor because Jeff Probst is so cool." Everyone who says watch the Traitors, it's Alan Cummings. Stop. I don't have to say
and
anymore.
he makes a meal out of every fucking line,
Every
And
word, every syllable.
I don't know if there's ever been a host who more openly hated their contestants. It's so funny. Every time they
I'll give you one potential example is Project Runway when Heidi Klum was on it. She literally seemed to
She did
dislike
hate
all
me.
of those people.
But not in a fun,
Yeah,
fun of a way
No,
as Alan
like,
is
you know,
doing.
like, they would be crying walking off the stage, and she'd be like, "I need to
if
Good.
the faithful fuck up, are sad about somebody dying, he'll have a quip about like oh, they were proud that they were in real world. It looks like they're in the unreal world, but he says it better than that. And then this season, this year, you had Bergie from Love Island, Ekin-Su from Love Island. You had so many, and it's different people from different worlds. So you have Real Housewife people, Big Brother Survivor people, the game players. And there was like, oh, the game players are going to do so well, but they're always so arrogant and shoot themselves in the fucking feet.
Every time.
It was so good. It was so good. And then
I feel like
How do you guys think our president would do on the Traitors next season?
Unfortunately, probably so well.
Yeah.
I think you would see numbers like you've never seen before.
It all comes down to like the round table. Like you spend it's all so quick. You spend the day. Everyone's throwing out a name. It takes one person to just have like an ounce of charisma, and everyone would be like, "Hell yeah, they're the fucking traitor." And then it all goes downhill so
and
quick.
they call things,
and it's always the
they call
night-
things evidence. They're like, well, you coughed
Yeah.
weird when somebody said that name, so I mean, I do have a lot of evidence. And you're like, that's not evidence.
So it's like playing the board game Clue. I'm gonna go to you, Caitlin, with this question. How obvious is this? Like, are you picking out who is the traitor at all points?
I think the traitor does a really good job. They do. So they pick the traitor at the very beginning, and they pick people who they think won't know. And I think they do a really good job, the traitors. Sometimes the traitors do turn on each other or mess up. And when the faithfuls do find the traitors, that's fun. But no, I think the show is more than a reality TV show because
What does that
every
mean?
single episode. No, it's truly because
No, let her cook. Let her go.
one, Alan Cummings. Two, I feel like every single episode has like a theme throughout it. Like there's going to be a struggle there, and like it is so railroaded in a way, but it's not because these people are just made for TV. They are characters themselves.
Is this a show that's on Netflix but does get released week to week?
Peacock, week to week.
Yep.
Peacock.
Yeah.
Peacock
It's on
gets
the
it.
cock.
Represent.
And Phaedra, who led the traitors, Like, we always know who the traitors are, but she let it, and she knows. She's from the Housewives bunch, and she knows, and it was just like, I think you'll make a real cool killer, Kate, when she's like recruiting a new killer, and Kate, who's from the Below Deck universe, and this is her second time on Traitors, and she's such a sassy cunt. And like ruins it, and she's amazing.
If you picture a celebrity, like a reality TV person who doesn't want to be a part of it and like despises it the whole time and hates that she has to be active, like is the hero.
They're running around collecting barrels of money, and like because the whole time they all want the money. They want those pools.
So
of
like
money.
it's an early Nintendo game.
But at a certain point,
Donkey Kong
Kate
Country.
is so bitchy and pissed at everybody and mad that she's hiking. She has a bunch of money and just starts throwing it.
She throws it,
and
again, the game that you want money out of this, and she's
they're all
tossing
so
money away.
stupid. Nobody's just like, well, let's vote Kate out, even if she's a faithful. Fuck her. No, but they're all so dumb. They're so dumb. It's
such a
glorious.
great show.
I took so many notes for Shogun in the industry.
So did we.
I took so many notes.
Yeah.
What it says about the human
That it's
condition.
bullshit. That'll work on me every time. I do
Ryan,
love the human
Ryan,
condition.
can I say one more thing about Traitors
Of course.
this season?
Caitlin, you can say 4 more.
Okay, cool. So this season in particular, Alan Cummings has a sidekick, which I don't know if you guys remember, but his sidekick.
Jimmy Kimmel?
Nope, it is Layla, his dog. And guess what? Layla also has beautiful outfits.
They match. And they match.
What
Very
type of dog is this?
cute. I don't
Like
know.
a
She's
collie
a little
mix?
long hair thing.
Okay.
Poly mix?
Collie mix, like a real dog.
Collie mix. Okay. We do have to go to a vote. It's the Traitors versus Arcane. And I'm going to go to Mike first. Here we go.
Traitors.
Caitlin,
Traitors.
Greg, save us, please.
Arcane.
Cassie,
This is crazy.
You know what the right thing is.
yeah, I know.
Cassie.
And you know what the
I
Cassie
can
thing to
tell.
do is,
I can
and you're
tell that
battling
you
on the
know.
inside.
Cassie, are you
know
a
what the
traitor
right
or are you a faithful?
But I also know what I cared more about, and it was Traitors.
Oh my god.
We have to do a reality show next year, Ryan.
Yeah, this is bullshit.
They're the true traitors.
We're going to take a break. And when we come back, let's kick these reality shows off our fucking Below Deck. This is it, folks. We have argued all these shows. I'm just going to throw them at you, and you have to make your pick. You can talk about it, but only to yourself. We want to hear your mental thoughts, your outward thoughts, but conversation's done. I'm starting with you, Mike. It's X-Men 97 versus Fallout.
Well, on one hand, somebody quoted me in my life early night, said, "This show made me." So it's X-Men 97.
Caitlin?
It's X-Men 97.
Greg?
Yeah, it's a tough draw for both of these, but X-Men 97 just moved me in a way that even Fallout couldn't quite.
Cassie?
X-Men.
All right, next up is, and we're going to start with you, Cassie. It's Batman Caped Crusader versus Ripley.
That's gonna be a Batman for me.
Wow, okay. Greg?
I liked Batman so much, and I love drawings, but I don't know. There's so much about Ripley that really blew me away. It's the most beautiful looking show we had. Black and white, the most beautiful looking show we had. I'm going with Ripley.
What if Caped Crusader was in black and white? That would have been awesome.
I mean, it's drawn on black paper, and that's part of what gives its iconic look.
Caitlin?
Cool.
Caped Crusader or Ripley?
I'm going to go with Batman.
Mike?
I agree that I loved Batman Crepe Crusader, and it was also
Caped Crusader?
he makes
savior of pancakes.
He makes very thin pancakes in the French style, and it was a great show. But come on, Ripley, it's Ripley.
Ripley moves on. All right, I'm going right back to you, Mike, with a big one. It's Shōgun versus Interior Chinatown.
Shōgun.
Okay. Caitlin?
Interior Chinatown.
Greg?
Dude, the phenomenon of the year, Ryan, Shogun.
Honestly, it might win Movie of the Year next week.
I wish I could have just said a bunch of gibberish and then had someone just come and translate and be like, Greg says thank you for your question.
Greg,
But
it's
he
not
preferred
gibberish.
The show Showdown.
It's another language, you fucking American asshole.
Okay, Dutch. I'm sorry. I wish I could say a bunch of Dutch.
Cassie?
Shogun.
Shogun moves on. Are we so excited for Shogun now?
Oh my god, I almost rewatched it for this. I watched it like as it came out weekly, and I almost rewatched all of it just for this show.
I feel like you should have. I am so fucking nervous right now. Cassie?
Yeah.
Even she sounded nervous.
Cassie's an empath. It's industry versus the traders.
Oh, are you kidding? Oh, okay.
She just had a lot of thoughts all at the same time.
It's that I've already messed up. I know what the right thing to do is. I've already messed it up. Fuck it, traders.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god.
When it gets to be this late, it's hard to deny your impulses. It really is. You want to say things that make sense, but instead you're just like, I love cheese.
Greg?
My choices are what now?
Industry or the traders?
Industry by $1 billion, Ryan.
Caitlin?
The traitors.
Mike?
It's Lord of the Flies with Botox. It's the traitors.
That's fucking
Because he hates industry.
Yeah.
It's a really good show.
No, I'm not saying that the traders isn't good. I'm saying that industry is a little above Mike, and he doesn't know how to
They're
understand
just
it.
like, Yasmin, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I can't even believe that.
Yeah, I didn't understand it when they're like, buy, sell, we do drugs.
It's also about fucking, Mike, okay? There's
Oh.
more going
Can't
on than just buying and
forget.
selling.
I
and
really
drugs.
didn't understand that part.
It's also about betraying each other, which is not something that viewers of traders would understand.
We have a final four, and industry is not part of it.
That is
I had
crazy.
one
Ryan,
goal.
can I? I'm formally doing the rest of this under protest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I will as well.
Yeah,
Fuck.
so we'll see what the board has to say about this.
So Greg and I are going to spray paint a protest board while doing this podcast, which I think is impressive.
I understand that, but my getting industry off is to protest Greg's not letting Chernobyl be on when it should have won the whole show years ago.
Years, like 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I have had no comeuppance for that, so I think that is kind of fair.
And I think that all the industry cast and crew feels that right now. They feel that force wave. Mike, it's to you. X-Men 97 versus Ripley. This is our final four.
Look.
There it is.
Oh, I do.
There
Such
it
a
is.
classic move.
You can't,
Classic move.
you can't put Love Island in here right now.
Both visually gorgeous shows. X-Men 97 proved you could make this show well. It's Ripley. Come on. It's Ripley. We're grown-ups. It's Ripley.
Caitlin?
Come on, we're grown-ups. It's X-Men 97.
Greg?
I'm sorry, it just is X-Men 97.
Oh my fucking god! This fucking bitch. All right, Cassie.
Yeah, it's X-Men.
That's insane.
Doo-doo Wolverine, Ryan.
Yeah,
Doo-doo
that's how the
doo.
Ripley theme song goes.
Gambit 2. I mean, that's all there.
All right, Cassie, we're starting with you.
Okay.
Shogun versus the Traders.
Jesus Christ. Come on now. Really. Lock in, okay? It's getting
Cassie
serious.
is melting.
This fuck, like, I don't like this.
She
I
knows-
don't like being on this podcast.
She's not gonna.
You don't like
what I
when you-
love is Ryan doesn't remember every year. This is how this show ends.
It's every single
Yeah,
time.
freaking out saying, I
Show
don't like that we
causes
do
us to
this.
have a
I do-
big fight.
I do also feel like you're getting a taste of what we deal with now because we have our shows. We have built our army, and we are here.
We are here.
This is absurd.
Um,
Shogun versus the Traders.
There's only a great show on here, Cassie. Make the right choice.
Traitors.
That's so fucked up. That's so
Greg.
fucked up. Shogun.
Caitlin,
It's show. Just kidding. It's traitors.
Mike.
We've had a lot of fun. Let's stop fucking around.
He's gonna
It's
say the
Shogun.
Traders.
He did it. He did it.
Shogun moves on. And now, Mike, it is back to you. How we always knew it was going to end. Shogun versus X-Men 97.
Wow. From the twisted mind of Greg. This encapsulates my year perfectly.
He does have that hoodie that's half Shogun characters, half X-Men characters. It's Shogun.
Caitlin,
X-Men 97.
Greg.
Shogun versus X-Men sounds like an awesome Street Fighter.
Do you want to see
video,
Shōgun
yeah.
97 of just everybody today?
But
like 15 years ago?
X-Men 97, I loved you so much. But this year brought Shogun to the people, Ryan. And it wasn't just like, hey, this is a pretty good show. This was the best show
No,
of
it was
2024.
Yeah. Cassie?
X-Men.
And I will go with Shōgun, meaning our number 2 seed upsets our number 1 seed. And Shōgun is the drama series of the year.
We got there, right? Didn't we get there? I think we got there.
But we
all
made it an
sisyphus.
interesting path.
Yes. We took some twists and turns.
Ryan, for the last 15 minutes, was sure Traders was going to win. It did not.
I
know
know. We were gonna break this man.
But Shōgun does it. I do think that if we do a best of total, Shōgun wins. If
Yeah.
it's like versus movie and comedy and album, like Shōgun is the best. Guys, thank you so much for having us. Caitlin, what do you want to plug?
I want to plug some lamps in because it's dark in here.
Cassie, right now, favorite Trader Joe's snack?
The
Always start off a sentence with duh.
Jingle jangle, bitch.
I love Jingle Jangle.
The small cookies.
The
Mike.
itty bitty ones.
Your prediction for movie that will be on the 1995 bracket?
I think clearly on the 1995 bracket is
Jurassic Park.
that's 93.
But
Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls.
And Greg, call one of us an iceberg.
I think I'm an iceberg because honestly, there's a lot going on under the surface.
Wow.
And it's fucking so cold you would not believe it.
Greg gives the response that ChatGPT gave us as well. I want to thank all of you guys for being on the show. Thank you so much to Shōgun for being a good show this year.
Saving us, traitors.
It's the true faithful.
For Caitlin, for Mike, for Cassie, for Greg, I am Ryan, and please, as always, next week, we're watching those movies. It is the best movie of 2024.
Woo!
And always keep watching those movies.
Bam!